Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, gang. I hope you guys are on time. It is officially 9 o'clock. PBD Podcast. Second week of Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Last week was a success. We got a lot of positive commentary about it. There's a lot to discuss, especially with the visit in Alaska. I don't know if you guys had any chance to go to Alaska this weekend. There was like a big meeting going on between this one guy that runs this country called, Russia. Used to be called USSR, and another one that's a pretty powerful guy. Some call him the most powerful guy in the world.
Zelenskyy?
Donald Trump.
Oh.
And it was a big meeting.
My
and
bad.
Zelenskyy didn't show up. But today they're going to have a meeting, and apparently he's going to be wearing a suit today. Apparently the EU, NATO told him, listen,
No way.
I think it's a good idea to wear a suit. So
Like
the
a
over-under
babysitter.
is, will he wear a suit or
Like
not?
a child.
Don't
They're
wear a
saying
tie.
Tuck in your
babysitting.
shirt.
There's
wear
a
a tie.
lot of back and forth. We haven't even commented on that event that took place.
I can't wait.
So we'll get into that. A lot to say about that. You know, Hillary Clinton is so cornered now that even she comes out and says if he stops the war, she's going to have to nominate President Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize, which is pretty interesting. Bill Maher slams zombie lie that Trump is Putin's ally after Alaska summit. I also like what Bill Maher, there's a couple things with Bill Maher. Bill Maher got emotional on one of the clips about Trump. Another one, he talks about how he could never get Democratic leaders to get on his show. Never. He could never get him to get on his show. Even with Obama, he had to get like a letter or commission approved for him to get him after 8 years. But there's a reason for it, and we'll talk about that. I got some thoughts on that, on what happened there. Vladimir Putin takes swipe at Biden, says no war if Trump was president. Now, you know, to me, internally, that's one of the things that Trump said, you better say publicly or else. I think that was one of the negotiations that he had with him, and he asked for it. CNN's Harry Yenton says Americans vastly prefer Trump's handling of crime over Biden. Nearly 200 arrested as federal agents take over D.C. police. I'm going to show you a clip that Vinny just showed us of what they're doing in D.C.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. But
Horrible.
you just have to, before you react and cut this clip, watch it first before you react. It's painful to watch.
I never thought I'd get to that point to say, like, I can't believe that
hold
Trump
your
is-
emotions today. No angry patriot. It's going to be reasonable patriot
All right.
today.
All right.
All right. Newsom leads
No stroke
California.
Monday.
Newsom leads California redistricting plans revealed in leaked map. He says if you're going to take away 5 seats in Texas, we're going to take away 5 seats from you. Schwarzenegger opposes Newsom's push to scrap redistrict commission. Blue states plan new tax hikes on wealthy residents in response to Trump's federal tax legislation. Israel's Cyber Directorate employee arrested in U.S. suspicion of pedophilia. DHS Secretary Noam temporarily relocates residents over vicious doxing. Kristi Noam is living free of charge in Coast Guard Commandment's home. Tom's got some thoughts on that one right there. Nobody's buying homes, nobody's switching jobs, and America's mobility is stalling. Dream of U.S. homeownership slips further from view as average mortgage cost leap for past median incomes. That's the New York Post. The other one was Wall Street Journal. And I don't know if you guys saw Beyonce's ad with Levi's trying to outdo Sydney Sweeney.
I still haven't seen it.
Have you seen it?
No.
Rob, you have it though, right? Let's have that. I think you guys got to see it, folks. There's a couple clips you guys got to see. And you tell me who did it better. My sons were watching the commercial, and every time they had to close their eyes at one scene because they were getting uncomfortable on how hard they tried to beat Sydney Sweeney. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Who knows? Marco Rubio accuses CBS reporter of pushing stupid media narrative in fury clash over Zelenskyy. Trump shares First Lady Melania's letter to Putin as he rages over coverage of Alaska summit. BlackRock Larry Fink appointed as WEF, World Economic Forum, interim co-chair, which makes sense. Larry Fink to have that job. Peace first, not ceasefire. Witkoff explains why Trump changes his position on Ukraine. And then we got Director Comey, ex-Director Comey, try to make this video to seem cool about Taylor Swift. Extremely, extremely awkward, according to what the fellas here had to say. Before we get into it, tomorrow night, Rob, if you can go to it, There's a lot of things that's going on right now in the marketplace. Tomorrow night, the 19th, Tuesday night, the 19th at 6 p.m., free webinar, 20 threats, 20 business threats you cannot ignore in 2025. We do this every year, and it's a new one every single year that we go through. I highly, highly recommend, if you're somebody that runs a small business, you're an executive with a company, or somebody that's an entrepreneur, you're running a business, you're planning on doing something for yourself, whatever you do not miss tomorrow night's webinar at 6 p.m., August 19th. Again, 6 p.m., everybody at the end gets the white paper of the 20 threats. Everybody gets the white paper of the 20 threats and a couple other items that we'll be discussing on that. Rob, the link for it is vtwebinar.com. Go to vtwebinar.com to register for the webinar. Again, vtwebinar.com. Having said that, let's get right into it. All right. So the meeting that took place in Alaska, Trump, Putin come together for the first time. They both had to travel. When Putin lands, Trump, the walk up, Rob, if you can do me a favor and pull up the clip of Trump walks out first, stands waiting for Putin to come, showing authority. He's up there, and then when Putin walks up, all the body language expert YouTubers lose their mind, because this is what you want to see. The first handshake between the two when Putin walks up to shake the president's hand. And as he's doing that and they're walking up, Rob, I don't know if you can find it or not, Rob. Just go to X if you're having a hard time finding it. It's the most popular clip out of all of them.
So, most gangster.
Trump, Putin, handshake. They walk up, not this one.
With the B-52 bombers
right
you're
there,
talking
Rob,
about?
Okay, watch this one here. So he's chilling, he's waiting.
All right, here he comes.
Let's go. Hello?
5, 4, 3,
clap it up.
2, 1.
Buddy
Hey, look how happy.
Look how much smaller he is.
He's like, hi.
Hello,
how you
little
doing?
Russian
very
friend.
good. Very good trip. We have fun.
And
Very good. Yeah.
we'll
You
go
beat
over-
Hillary.
All right.
Remember you beat Hillary? They said Russia collusion. We don't
All
need
right,
it.
let's do it, boys. Wait for this.
So that's that. Now, while they're walking, what does Trump decide to do? Talk about timing, by the way. This is not easy to time this.
Oh, my God.
Watch what they do.
And
Go ahead, Rob.
3, 2, 1. Cue the bombers.
Oh, my. Oh.
So loud.
He clapped.
It's called peace through strength, Vladimir.
Can we acknowledge how gangster,
So gangster.
you're meeting with the world's largest nuclear power, and he, by the way, he claps and then he leans in and goes, "You're good." How gangster
Why-
is that?
Did you
Okay,
see the
so-
voiceovers all weekend? It's like, Vlad, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, he is.
So why do you think he did that?
And I love that you said the CNN automatically had body language experts. I don't care what your profession is with body language. I don't care if you despise Trump. The timing and how gangster is it that you see Putin and the timing of you know what that means? The bomber's like, okay, all right, guys, right now. And the moment that he's about to hit that stage, a B-52 bomber, which can carry nuclear arsenal with 4 fighter jets, Pat, that goes to show him, like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I'm still the alpha. I'm the boss. Period.
You think that's the reason why?
Gangster.
Any other take than what Vinny said?
I think
Any
it's
different take?
gangster.
No. I don't disagree with it. But Trump understands the moment, and he understands trolling, and trolling can be done in so many different ways.
Yeah. So
What'd
okay.
you
So
think?
so that's that part. Now, as they're going about it, they're having their conversations. You know, everything that's going on. You know, different talks. Talks. Rob, do you have any other clips that you want to show with this one here?
There was one. Let me grab it. I
Tom,
believe this is the one that was in your notes.
which one is this one, Rob?
This is the handshake and then a breakdown of the right here.
Yeah, I like this one. Watch this breakdown of this one TikToker. I like the way he broke it down. Watch this.
These moves by Trump during his meeting with Putin in Alaska were pure negotiating genius. Air Force One lands, Trump steps out, walks straight to his spot. Putin's plane lands after, Trump's already there, standing firm. Adjusts his jacket, little wave, a clap or two. But he's not moving an inch. He's making Putin come to him. That's not random, that's strategy. That's you want to talk, you walk to me. Same move he pulled on the Chinese leader before. It's a silent message. I'm in charge here. And when Putin finally reaches him, Trump goes for the handshake and pulls him in. The handshake mind games are next level, psychotic in the most calculated way. He exudes power. That's a real president. Then, the ultimate move. B, 2 stealth bombers cutting through the sky. This isn't just a military show, it's a statement. Fly the most advanced bomber in the world over your rival's head during a handshake. Putin even glances up at it. Trump doesn't, because he already knows it's there.
Oh
That's
my
confidence.
God!
That's control. That's the art of the deal. Live and unfiltered. Whether you love him or hate him, this was pure showmanship from a master negotiator. And in that moment, everyone watching knew exactly who was in charge.
Jake just messaged me too. He leans in and actually says, "That's for you." Like as a gift. That's so funny.
So, Tom, what got accomplished with this meeting?
So what got accomplished at this meeting is the 2 largest superpowers came together on U.S. soil, not at The Hague, not overseas, not in Minsk, where the Germans got together a couple of years ago with him, not any of that. On our soil, says the Alpha got together with him. And there's a lot of things that Putin wants. This wasn't just about Ukraine. There were some other things that were Witkoff was talking about that were discussed. And I think what got accomplished is that the world knows the path to peace in the Ukraine goes through Donald Trump. And whether it's on his desk with the documents or it's the aid that he's pushing back, that's what got accomplished. Everybody in the world, including other world leaders, knows. Remember, Europe was trying. Remember when they had the Zelenskyy incident in the Oval Office? Pat, you remember what happened the next week? Zelenskyy went on tour of Europe and they all hugged him one at a time and offered him aid. But turns out the UK aid turned out to be debt against the Ukrainian citizens. Remember all that?
Yeah.
Well, this is Trump. What got accomplished is Trump has reset the narrative of negotiations on the Russia-Ukraine peace treaty, and it needs to be a peace treaty, not a ceasefire.
Rob, can you do me a favor? The one thing, if I'm Trump, one of the biggest outcomes, I believe for him, top 5, it could have been top 3 on his list, my opinion, is for Putin to say the war would have never happened if Trump was president. You have to know that was on top of Trump's list of a thing that he wanted Putin to say, because it was a statement for Putin to validate what Trump kept saying during the election and the debate. If I was the president, the war would have never happened. Everybody's like, who the hell you think you are and all this other stuff? And guess what the guy who started the war just said? Here's what he had to say. Go ahead, Rob.
I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine.
Okay, so for Putin to say if Trump was the president, war wouldn't have happened, that's like a slap in the face for the Democratic Party. It's not just Biden, it's the entire Democratic Party. And so as we're going through this, and Adam, I'm going to come to you next, when you see something like this happening, okay, Putin says what he says, okay, they meet, Trump does the showmanship, conversations are being had, there's a lot of messages that nothing happened, this was a waste of time, a lot of liberal media are saying all this stuff. There was even a moment where Rubio goes on Kristen Welker, I don't know which one it is, we'll show that here in a minute, but there's a lot of stuff that was says. Where are you at with this? What do you think was accomplished with this meeting?
So, you guys were talking about you went to see a movie this weekend?
I went to see a movie this weekend.
Okay, gotcha. I never see movies, but this is very reminiscent of a mafia movie. And it's almost like The Godfather. You got Don Trumpino out here. He's the mafia boss of America. You got Putin. He's the mafia boss of Russia. And then you have Zelenskyy. He's just sort of low-level street boss that's caught up in the middle of this, almost like a pawn, and he's begging for protection. You got the EU and NATO; they're their own sort of bosses on their end, and they're basically not wanting to send their sons to war. So they're sending money and they're sending military equipment and they're selling weapons. And at the end of the day, this is a turf war. Trump understands what he's looking for. Trump wants to get a deal done. Why does Trump want to get a deal done? Trump could care less what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Trump wants to pivot to China. China is the big boss. I know you mentioned the two global superpowers. I assume you meant by nuclear or weaponry superpowers. But China is where basically U.S. wants to pivot. The sooner that we can get this deal done in Russia, the sooner we can figure this out, the sooner we can pivot to the big issue of our time, which is China. So we'll see how long this takes. I said on the last show, there's a 99% chance nothing comes from this. I think Zelensky's going to come to the office,
today,
this week in a suit? Is it today?
It's today. They're driving.
So he's bringing his whole crew there, UK, France, Germany. He's even bringing the one NATO leader who called Trump daddy. So Don Trumpino, the end-all, be-all mafia boss, is calling all the cards here. And we'll see what happens with
I agree
Zelensky.
with what you say about China, but let me check you a little bit. 99% chance that nothing happens?
From that meeting.
Before they ever walked in, it reset the global order of who's the alpha and the framework. And then the speech at the podium validates a fabrication and a false, not a fabrication, but a falsehood that the U.S. mainstream media was repeating almost like a synchronized chorus.
So
before we even get to the negotiating table and before Zelensky ever steps foot into Washington, where you have all the folks of Europe, 99% chance nothing happened of it. I see a lot as already. So what do you mean by
what you're
that?
talking about is rhetoric and marketing and bravado. Is the war still going on in Ukraine?
At the moment?
Yeah, exactly. So meaning nothing has changed. The whole goal of this meeting is to create a ceasefire.
Wait,
there's been no
Are you
ceasefire.
saying
What, are they going to sign it as you
progress-
walk off the plane?
No progress has been made.
That's not what I said. I said progress in regards to war. The whole
Oh,
goal.
so progress in regards to
Of course.
By the way, just this morning, Russia attacked a Ukrainian apartment, if I'm not mistaken, and a few people were killed. Rob, can you
Correct.
look this up to verify that? Because I saw that in the news early this morning with this going on. Vinny, what are you thinking with what he's saying? Yeah, that's the one. Russia drone strike in Ukraine just this morning.
Killed several before the Trump.
So it's just like right.
Well, they did the same thing. They did
So
a
right
Russia
before-
launched
yes.
140 drones into Ukraine overnight. So
right
they did it.
after the meeting with Trump.
Zelensky-
Meaning, thanks for the
Zelensky did
meeting.
the same
Thanks for the
thing.
publicity. Back
Zelensky
to
did the
war.
same. Zelensky did the same thing, Hey, guys. Because at the end of the day, you're right. It's war, but this is going to come down to Zelensky and the people in his ear going. Because guys, it's all about the money. You say follow the money. It's all the defense contractors. It's all he's going to be begging for money. And I don't care if he's wearing a suit. If he has that attitude, it's not going to work. But what pisses me off, Pat, is the left. Everybody on the left is it's almost as if they hope it all goes down. Brian Krasenstein, that really big, tough, muscular Krasenstein, who had his shirt off in the beach this weekend, he went online and said this, Pat. He said they should have snipers in Anchorage, Alaska, ready to take him down as soon as he shrugged. And look what he write at the bottom. Correction, we should poison him instead. What type of okay, I get it, he's doing it for the clicks, but what type of
first of all, I don't know. Isn't that
that's illegal? Did you know?
Isn't that illegal? That's a death threat.
Guess
right? You
what?
can't do
Under
that on
U.S.
X.
law, it's illegal to publicly call for the assassination of a foreign leader. The Secret Service and FBI treat those kinds of statements seriously because it could create diplomatic problems. And I get you want to be
can't say
clicks, you want to be
something
that
like
guy, but
Yeah.
Pat, if you think about it, with that attitude, and this is the left, God forbid they shoot and they hit Putin. What happens? What happens if Putin gets shot and killed? It's over. It's World War III. So I'm getting sick. I hate this is the attitude of the left. They can't even
honestly,
admit that we're trying.
This is let's move on from
Yeah.
this one. Brian, if you're watching this, I'm going to be very fair with
think-
you.
yeah.
So this is, you can hate Trump and say all that stuff.
That's not
This
good.
is irresponsible to make a comment like this. But so let me go to a couple other things. Marco Rubio, to me, has become the MVP on this entire exchange with Alaska, Russia, all of that. I am so impressed with Marco Rubio. I can't even describe it to you. The way he handles media. When I watch between him and JD, they have different styles on their games, but just watch this exchange on how he handles it. It's not even, I don't even want to say it's a clinic. You can tell he's so vested. Marco, many years ago, 15 years ago when he was running, 12 years ago when he was running, they would say he's not the hardest working senator. That was the reputation he had. He's not the hardest working senator. He's not the hardest working guy. He's not the hardest working guy. That's the reputation he had. Super talented, super capable, but he'll never be president because he's not the most hardworking guy. He just relies on his talent. Whatever has happened, and whether it was the 2016 debate that completely changed his approach, this is a new man. I'm telling you right now, something's happened. That public fight against Trump got him to improve himself. Watch the way he handles himself here. Go ahead, Rob.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelenskyy is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming
them?
as back. That's not true. No, but that's not why that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're
well,
not
that
coming.
February
in fact,
Oval Office
they're coming here
meeting
tomorrow
in front of television cameras where President Zelenskyy.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh no, I know,
Right.
and I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled
No,
out.
but it
for the
was
Russian leader. It was
Zelenskyy. We've
very
had more
different.
meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelenskyy. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelenskyy into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
But the president told those European leaders last week that he wanted a ceasefire. The president went on television, said he would walk out of the meeting if Vladimir Putin didn't agree with one. He said there would be severe consequences if he didn't agree to one. He said he'd walk out in 2 minutes. He spent 3 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and he did not get one. So there's
because obviously things happened during that meeting. Well, because obviously look, our goal here is not to stage some production for the world to say, oh, how dramatic, he walked out. Our goal here is to have a peace agreement, to end this war, okay? And obviously we felt, and I agreed, that there was enough.
By the way, he to me, remember how with the tariffs, the MVP became Besant?
Yes.
Right? With each issue, to me, there's an MVP. Rubio is the MVP. Like when I always say, Tom's the MVP of us selling the company. When we sold the company, Tom was the MVP. How many times have you heard me say that? Hundreds of times, right? Rubio's the MVP in this case.
Wow.
I'm so impressed by Rubio.
For Russia, Ukraine.
Oh, I am just so impressed with Rubio. I can't even describe to you.
Awesome.
In this specific project, I'm so impressed with Rubio and the way he's handling himself. Because there was a meeting this morning with Mario Bartiromo. No, yesterday. He did an interview with Mario yesterday. And another one. Yeah, so in the interview with Mario, I was like, no, that's not true. Look, the reality of it is, what if nothing happens? What if this, what if that? She's asking. He says, what if nothing happens? We're going to have to go back to sanctions, and we're going to have to go back to what we had before, which means there is nothing going on for another 15 months, 18 months, year. That's not what Putin wants. If Putin wants to go there and there is no deal, we have to go back to that. Now, what if, and then he says, don't forget, this isn't about us and Russia. This isn't about us and Ukraine. We don't have a war. They have a war. We're simply trying to broker a peace deal here. We didn't start this war. This is between them. All we're trying to do is find a way to get this thing knocked out of the way. So then the question becomes NATO. Does NATO want this war to be done? So let's kind of go through the process on why NATO, EU, why are these leaders, all these folks. Rob, can you pull up who will be joining Zelenskyy in the meeting with Putin, in the meeting with Trump? So if you look at the list of people that are joining, why are they coming? Is it because Zelenskyy was out of control last time? Is it because Zelenskyy was bullied last time? Is it because Zelenskyy didn't know how to negotiate and diplomacy? He lacks diplomacy because obviously Zelenskyy is probably the worst in diplomacy between the three. If you think about Zelenskyy, Trump, and Putin, Putin's willing to sit down. Putin's willing to talk. Biden was horrible with diplomacy. Zelenskyy, horrible with diplomacy. Maybe Starmer is coming in because he has diplomacy, which he does. He understands the idea of what's going on there. So do we have the list of people?
Yeah, Rob, I sent you a picture of who's coming.
French Macron will be there. Ursula, President of the European Commission, will be there. German Chancellor will be there. Italian Giorgia Meloni will be there. By the way, just so you know, most of these guys have a decent relationship with Trump. So what, they're trying to protect him? Is that what they're trying to do? Or are they worried that Zelensky is going to ruin it again and there's more war? Because, you know, the promise that Trump's trying to give Putin, brokering it through EU, from what I've looked at with what people are saying, is he's trying to make sure Trump knows Ukraine is not going to join NATO. But if you cross the line again, I'm going to be participating in Article 5. Like, we may be involved in an Article 5 because you're crossing the line. You can't attack Ukraine. So I think some of the ways they're trying to give Russia what he wants, which means Ukraine can join NATO. But then at the same time, they're also trying to protect Ukraine, that if you do attack them, this also is a form of a, what is the one that's on the NATO, that if you cross the line, it is as if you're attacking EU?
Article 5.
NATO, Article 5.
Article 5. Yeah. You attack one, you attack all. We are obligated to help.
So then they ask him and they say, well, what about the minerals? You know, you need so many minerals from them. What about that? And he's like, what about the minerals? You think we can't get them from other places? He says, yeah, of course we like the minerals from Zelenskyy. Of course we like minerals from Russia, but we have other options as well. I just really like the way Rubio is handling himself. But to me, with the meeting that they're having, that's going to be happening today, one, if Zelenskyy wears a suit, who wins there? Who gets the win if he wears a suit?
He gets
Trump. No, Trump gets the win.
Yeah.
Okay, Trump gets the win. If NATO forces whoever got Zelenskyy to wear a suit, that's Trump's ask.
Yes.
So I guarantee on a call, Trump and his people talked to all these 7 other people, and they said, I swear to God, if he shows up to the White House without a suit, there's no deal. Okay, so that's one.
That's great.
So guess what? They all are going to force this guy to wear a suit. Will he, will he not? We'll see. If he doesn't, guess what? You lack diplomacy, okay, to say this is the standard of our house. You come in here a damn suit. I don't give a shit what you want to wear in your house. In our house, you wear a suit. All right, great. So then he has to step up his game. But, regardless of it all, the progress that they're making, if this leads to them stopping, they're asking for, the request that he has is what? They're asking for, Russia's asking for the two locations, right? Let me go to it, Rob. If you have it, we're trying to pronounce these words. Putin's demanding Ukraine cede Donetsk and Luhansk in exchange for freezing rest of front line. Zelenskyy is saying the Constitution doesn't allow him to do that, okay? And then they're going back and forth in that area, but that's something that Putin, 1 million people have died. I think we played this clip last week, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, or we haven't played this clip.
I don't believe we have. I think this came out yesterday.
Watch this.
Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years. And the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land. Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the tri-lateral, Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that tri-lateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
Okay, so he's imposing what he's claiming is going to happen, what can't be done. So ahead of negotiation, Tom, they're saying what they're not willing to give up. Typically, when there's a big negotiation, here's how it works. Say you're trying to sell the two of you are trying to sell us a company. Okay. We are trying to buy your company. You need us because you guys are in shit right now because you guys lost 4 of your big accounts. You have great technology, great contacts, great product over the years, but you've messed up with 4 clients of yours, and you're coming to us, you want to sell. Okay, there is 10 things on the deal sheet, there's 20 items. Of the 20 items, 2 of them are things that are most important to you. You don't want me to know those 2, but maybe you have to. There's 4 items that are important to us. We don't want you to know what the 4 items are, but maybe your job is to read what our 2 are, what our 4 are. Our job is to identify what your 2 are. Zelenskyy is telling them prior to the negotiation that what? I'm not giving these 2 properties. Yeah. Putin's telling you that's what I want. Yep. Okay? Trump's telling you better tell the world without me this war would have never happened. Everybody's making their asks of what's going on. So if Zelenskyy is saying that in advance, this war is going to continue for a while. Yep. And if it does, I did a number yesterday. Rob, can you pull up how many people have died already? My dad asked me a question yesterday. How many people have died? A couple 100,000? I said, no, it's 1 million. Over 1 million people have died.
On both sides collectively, you're saying?
If you go on ChatGPT, how many people have died on the Ukraine-Russia war? Yeah. It's already over 1 million.
I've seen different numbers.
Human beings gone.
That's a lot.
That's insane.
We're driving Uber. We talk to people that are Ukrainian or Russia. Hey,
Yeah.
family back there. Yes, I lost my this. I lost my that. I lost my this.
I have
Right there.
friends.
A CSIS report projects roughly 950,000 okay, 250,000 deaths that you have on the Russia forces. Go Lord. Does it show total? There's a number that shows over 1 million total. Okay, right there. Go up a little bit, Rob. Go up right there. Russian military, 250. Part of over 1 million total military casualties. Ukrainian military, over 100,000. So 350. Civilians, 13,833. You know, you got anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million people that have died because of this war.
That we know about.
That we know
exactly.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something that nobody ever brings up is that this is literally a civil war, it seems. Because these are the same people. You ever met a Ukrainian person? It's like, no, I'm Russian. Well, I'm Russian. Yeah, I'm Ukrainian. What are your languages? It's the same thing. I mean, they're exactly the same. And the biggest part of what's going on with the military and the concessions here is everyone's like, just give up the land, bro. Just give up the land. Do the deal. Do you know what percentage of Ukraine they're asking them to give up if they do a deal? Do you know what percent?
How much?
20% of the country. That'd be like, hey, America, let's figure out this deal. You know, all right, give up Florida, Georgia, and everywhere up to Virginia, North Carolina. You can have 80% of the country. Ukraine's like, niet, I don't want to give. Why would you do something like this? It's not like, oh, the Donbas. We don't know anything about this, guys. Let's be real here. We're Googling Donbas, Molets. We don't know this region. We don't know what's going on. Putin wants a buffer between NATO. That's very clear. Zelensky's caught in the middle, pawn. He's just basically not conceding land. You know, if you trust Ukrainian polls whatsoever, the vast majority of Ukrainians do not want to give up the land. Okay, so it's not like there's Ukrainians being like, come on, Zelensky, give up land. Let's have peace. They're like, no. We're not giving up 20% of our country. And then why is the EU involved? Check this out. It's called sovereignty and recognition. The European knows it's the biggest war that's been fought in Europe since World War II. They have a very, very simple rule. We're not recognizing when an attack takes place and a country invades another country. We're not giving them precedent and they can just change borders. The one lady, the blonde lady, who I think she's president of the EU. There she goes, Ursula, president of the
von der Leyen.
Yeah.
EU
She
Economic
says
Commission.
Ukraine is still porcupine, undigestible to invaders. I don't even know if she has a Ukrainian accent. I just threw that thing in
she's
there.
German.
However,
Is she German?
the EU is coming there and basically saying, if you do this, if you give up land, it sets a precedent that anytime someone attacks, that you can just redo borders. And correct me if I'm wrong, when Europeans just start, drawing lines on a map, that usually ends up pretty ugly, i.e. Middle East, i.e. India, Pakistan. It gets very ugly when you just start redrawing borders.
I don't remember when
that's
the
what they're
Europeans
affecting.
drew up India, Pakistan, but go on.
Who owned India and Pakistan before that? Wasn't it the British?
There's a couple things going on.
Wasn't it the
here.
British?
The British trading company, like back
Didn't
bizarre years
Didn't
ago?
Britain colonize India?
Yeah, we're not talking. You're bringing things up. You're trying to connect them to Ukraine here, and
It's a
you're talking
metaphor.
You're talking about.
It's
legacies.
a metaphor.
No, let me point out a couple things.
Are you trying to say that India did not carve up?
No, I'm not
India
doing
and
that.
Pakistan?
Don't come on. Don't be petty. You're
petty?
You're restrating it.
Well,
now
wait a
you're
minute.
being
You're
victim.
saying what? This is what? The borders between India and Pakistan were
I'm just
drawn in
waiting for Captain Victim
1947
to
at the
get to his
time of
point.
partition of British India. Key figures, remember, borders were drawn. Okay.
Yeah,
but
the partition
you're
of
making,
the British India.
Right. I got it, Tom. Let's stay on topic here. So going back.
Thanks for that,
You
Tom.
wanted to say something about that Ukraine won't give up land that Russia doesn't already occupy, Zelensky says. What are your thoughts on that?
So basically, Russia occupies certain things because war comes and the fronts move, the front lines move,
Yeah.
and even that's what Putin was just saying. I will freeze the front line. When you hear that phrase, that's like the line of the war. And what's complicating this, I think, that nobody's talking about it, is in 2022, Boris Johnson screwed up the whole thing, telling Zelensky to back off any sort of instant peace. That is the point where Trump would have been in there, get that drunk blonde guy out of here, I will handle this. That's what would have happened. So at that time, Ukraine signed a decree. They signed a decree of their own that said they will not negotiate with Russia. And the problem that I see right here is that with that decree in place, this is why Trump is navigating it this way. As recently as March of this year, Dmitry Peskov said, hey, we can't negotiate with him with that decree in place because Zelenskyy was using that decree. I happen to think that the Europeans are in there as well because Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. And with Ukraine economically impacted, this actually benefits Germany, Austria, and France, big farmers of Europe, because they're able to grow grain and they're able to increase it. So I think there's a lot heading below the surface here that goes back to that 2022 decree about them not being able. So he said, the Constitution won't let me do it. Oh, please, we amend constitutions all the time. And so when he says we're not giving anything to Russia they don't already occupy, he's talking about the front line. And Russia wants to say, but if you move over a little bit this way, we have to remember the USSR got carved up. That's where this is here. That's recent.
Yeah, but this is the question I got for you, Tom. What is the likelihood that the leaders from EU are coming in because they don't want to happen, because their worry is, well, he's going to go after Poland next, and he's going after this next, and he's going to go after that next? Do you think the EU leaders want that area to be given up to Putin?
I think that there are cool heads in that room that understand what has to happen.
Okay, so how many of the people that are flying in, Rob, can you pull up those faces? How many of the people that are flying in do you think are open to the idea of Zelenskyy giving that up?
Isn't every single one of these on here NATO?
They're all NATO. Every one of them is NATO.
Okay, so they're protected, right? Attack one, attack all, right? They're all protected. There is. I think if you ask them, are you concerned about Poland? No. Are you concerned about this? No. I think because of the NATO checkmate that happens there. And we have to remember right now, this is not a weapon war now. This is a manpower war. So I think the reason they're coming together, I believe that some of these people, like Giorgia Meloni and Starmer, I think they actually want to get this thing over with. I believe it. Do I think some of the others on there are kind of playing a little bit? And do I think that they don't want, a certain end without their economic interest? Yeah, I think they're there to represent themselves. I think they're there representing European economics, because some of them don't want the war to create. I mean, look at Starmer. Starmer, Ukraine was asking him for aid. He says, I can't give you the aid, but I can give you part of it in debt. What does that say? They didn't have our unlimited resources just to keep pumping money at the problem.
Are you saying that Poland doesn't have concerns that Russia would invade?
Where Poland is right now, you go after Poland and everybody's in full response. We're not going to sit there, oh my gosh, it's another Ukraine. No, you're going to have a full response.
So, Pat, you asked the question, which one of these leaders would agree to Ukraine giving up land, basically?
Mm-hmm.
None of them. Zero of them. There's only one country that's actually agreed to, that's Slovenia. Slovakia, sorry. I get my Slavs confused. Yeah, the Slovakia said they would advocate Ukraine give up land at the end of the war. Every other country has said the following: we firmly reject any forced land concessions. Trump is basically the one trying to do a land deal. If you know anything about Trump, deal, the art of the land deal. Not my fight. This is not my thing. But if you ask any one of these leaders, they've been on the record, they firmly reject that Ukraine give up land. I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, so
all weekend long, they're talking about forced land deals. Nobody's talking about negotiating settlements in the same voice.
What does that mean?
Well, a forced land deal means everybody puts a gun to Zelensky's head and says, okay, the aid stops now, everybody stops now, your economy stops now, we're backing off unless you give this to them. You're going to die. That's a forced land deal.
Okay, so now let's fast forward
which
to
has happened in history.
The tri-lateral meeting, which is Trump, Zelenskyy, and Putin, of which Putin has suggested he wants the meeting to be in Russia. He wants it to be in Moscow, right? Which would be
that's pretty dangerous.
That's pretty tough if it shows up there, which means Zelenskyy has to go to Moscow.
In enemy territory.
They might even bring Tucker Carlson to kind of just smooth things over there.
Yeah, that was a joke, by the way, is what he's doing. So.
Not really.
But they're saying that this event may, Putin wants it there. Trump is not a guy that has a problem going anywhere. It's so funny, guys. Trump flies back from what do you call it? From Alaska, gets 4 hours rest, 12 o'clock tea time, goes and golfs on Sunday. That's literally what the guy did. Okay,
I don't get it.
At 79 years old, he's on the golf course. Not, I need some rest, I need some this. You know, Rubio talks about while they're on the plane at 1 o'clock in the morning, he's having calls with the people in, UK to tell them how the meeting went in Alaska.
Wow.
That's your president, folks. That's who you pay your tax, $400,000, $450,000 your salary to. He's getting paid under minimum wage, just so everybody knows this. The amount of hours he's working, he's not even making minimum wage right now. He's not even taking the money.
Guys, let's take some donations.
What's
for
this
Donald
one here,
Trump
Rob?
Right now.
Next, okay, go ahead, Rob. Play this clip.
I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
By
so
the way,
much.
if the deal was to be brokered and everybody offline agreed that a peace deal is coming, you think Trump would do it in Moscow?
Yes. 100%. Trump?
What do you think, Tom?
Yes.
I think he's going to break out that little desk that there was in Washington. And the
little wooden one.
No, that's a historical piece.
Yeah,
it comes from
they bring it on
Smithsonian where
stage.
they sign on.
Yeah, it just looks funny
treaty
because he's
sign.
huge.
You think he's going to want it here? He wouldn't go to Moscow?
I think he'd do it right here.
You think he'd do it right here?
I think.
You think it's going to get done in the next 90 days before the end of the year? You think a peace deal is done before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it's a peace deal now, not a ceasefire. Ceasefire allows people to break it. Ceasefires don't work historically. Peace deals do.
I love what, again, going back to the MVP of this deal, which is who? Rubio. You know what he said? He says, we're not interested in another one of these deals that you go back on your deal. We're not doing that. We need this thing to be something that 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, we're not looking back again and saying, we're back at it again. We don't want that. We want it to be something that everybody in the party commits to it. So, again, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll watch the story closely, Vinny.
And so Putin came here to Alaska, and a B-2 bomber flies over. If Trump goes to Moscow, what is Putin going to do? Have like a bear on a tricycle? With a bubble body?
They're going to have Kazacho perform.
Nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
One thing about Rubio that I want to give a credit to, almost like what you talk about at the SLS, the Sales Leadership Summit. When you're a senator, you don't do that much. Let's get real here. He's Secretary of State now, and he's with Trump every single day, and he's watching Trump work. And Trump's the type of guy who's like, you either go to use my work ethic and utilize my skill set and adapt to me, or you're out. So
he's killing it.
Don't forget, this is not like an elected position. You have to be confirmed. And like you said, Pat, Rubio's up to the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you had to throw your thought in as the last thing for us to be ready to go to the next one.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you for
it'll
that.
come again,
Thank you
though,
for
Pat.
that.
It'll come again.
As the closing, because you didn't want Vinny to be the last one. That was
Vinny's
a very unique moment.
Not
right
a closer.
There. All right. Let's go to the next story here with D.C. With everything that's going on in D.C. right now, Harry Enton from CNN. Do we get somebody that's going to protect D.C. or not? What do we do with National Guard, right? Watch this here. So CNN Harry Enton says Americans vastly prefer Trump in handling of crime over Biden. Is anybody surprised of this? Go ahead, Rob.
Compare Trump to Biden in handling of crime, please.
Yeah, okay. I think this sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way above Joe Biden.
Henry, watch your
language. So
about to get fired.
Vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of Democrats.
Look at her.
Americans writ large, but how does it break down by party?
Yeah, okay. So I think that this is, we're talking about Donald Trump here, right? So I think it's very important to note that this isn't just about Donald Trump. It's about Republicans versus Democrats, right? And that, of course, is a key question going into next year's midterm election. I think the party closest to your views on crime. Look, in 2023, Republicans were favored by 13 points. Look at where they were in May of this year. Republicans were actually favored by 16 points. They actually gained ground on crime. They were maintaining their edge and actually added a little bit to it. So Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate, they absolutely want to be talking about crime. The more they feel that we're talking about crime, the better they feel that the electoral landscape is for them.
Okay. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Nice.
No, it's not good to see you. You're not that happy to see him. Be honest. The body language says, get him the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Who does he remind you of, by the way?
He reminds me of the what's his name? The guy that would do all the general manager of the 76ers when he would negotiate all the deals and would break down all the collective bargaining agreement. Tom Penn, I think his name was.
Tom Penn, yeah. I think it was Portland.
I think he was.
Tom Penn.
Let's see, who was he with? Was he ever with the 76ers, Rob? Go to his profile. Let's see who was he with? FC. Who was he with the NBA?
76ers right there, manager, general manager.
The guy he was also with Portland.
Okay, exactly.
But the guy that says he knows more than the amateur NBA guy that part-time
I would
spends
run
2 minutes a week
circles around you in the NBA.
The NBA.
Run circles.
Circles.
If you want to talk about Iranian soccer, can I tell you who he reminds me of?
Stop. Let me go to this. Tell us what you're going to say. Vince Vaughn, what are you going to tell us?
No, you ever see Dick Tracy and like the bad guy who's like, yeah, copper, how you doing? I didn't do nothing. I'm not selling. Yeah, you see? That's him right there.
Right, got it.
And every time he goes on CNN, he's like, listen here, your wife is ugly.
Buddy,
his wife is hot. Your wife is ugly. His wife is hot.
Nobody's watched. If you will know what Dick Tracy is, listen, you're part of the generation that he no longer dates. I mean, it's
you don't know Dick Tracy?
Of course I know Dick Tracy.
I have to sit here and pretend I know famous Persian singers and do this whole
Nearly
move.
200
you don't know Dick
arrested.
Tracy?
Nearly 200 arrested as federal agents take over D.C. police force. Rob, this clip. Oh, okay, go for it. Go ahead, Rob.
The numbers are breathtaking. Since President Trump asserted federal control over our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., we have seen a record number of violent offenders, bad guys, gang members, and all kinds of threats to public safety removed off the street, as well as their illegal weapons that they've been using to terrorize the citizens of this city. Additionally, we have seen over 70 homeless encampments that have scarred and disfigured the public streets of this city, dismantled and thrown away, and the homeless cleared from those encampments. At the same time, we have the National Park Service going around and getting rid of the gang graffiti that has been left untouched by this city for decades. Since I've lived here, I moved to Washington, D.C. 20 years ago. And I've seen graffiti in some of our landmarks that has gone unremoved for decades that is now being cleared away. You have gang members that are being taken off the streets. You have druggies that are being taken off the streets. You have our parks being made safe again, our transit being made safe again. Last night, I had the honor and privilege of being at roll call for all of the federal and state officers that are going out in these task force. They are thrilled to be here. They are thrilled at the local level and at the federal level to be able to have this assignment on behalf of President Trump to make our nation's capital safe and clean again. It really is liberation for Washington, D.C., Griff.
Okay, so now all over online, you'll hear people talking about, I cannot believe they're calling National Guard on the people and all this other stuff. This is such inhumane, Newsom, all these
martial law.
Karen Bass, why would you ever do such a thing? However, Vinny, what else, there's a clip that you have of what happened in D.C. Would you mind showing the D.C. clip?
I'm going to show it, because and I'm all for, listen, the people, the crime is up and everything. But sending the National Guard like this in neighborhoods in Washington is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's overusing his power. I think it's almost like martial law. Like, Rob, can you play this clip? How dare he? How dare? Look at this.
That's a military Hummer.
Tom, that's a Hummer. And then look at this crap.
In D.C.
This is in D.C. Look at what? What the? Like, come on, man.
They're walking the street of a
crime is
neighborhood.
bad, but what are you guys? Get in your house now. Look at what the hell is going on?
This is National Guard?
National Guard.
Wait, Vinny. Wait, Adam.
Okay. And then look.
Get in the house.
She's filming.
Look,
oh my God! Did he shoot her?
Dude, what country do we live in, guys? What country do we live in?
Get in.
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
Vinny,
This is the suburbs.
This is not D.C.
Where is it, Pat?
This is Tim Walz.
That's Minneapolis during.
Minneapolis.
Oh, that's during.
Wait a minute.
George Floyd.
That's during the George Floyd protest.
Yes.
No, that's not actually it.
Wait a
that's
minute.
not COVID. It's actually.
Vinny, you got me, bro.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's a blue
got me real
state
good.
calling the National Guard to restore order?
Yeah, in a state that, by the way, because they know that they can do whatever they want because the protest. Listen, remember, you could protest peacefully in Minneapolis. You could protest peacefully, no mask. So
wait a minute. So your point is,
I thought Minnesota was the nice state.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying what they're doing in D.C. is already what the Democrats were doing in Minnesota?
So yeah, so he's just basically copycatting. But you know what drives me crazy? Rob, I sent you another
Typical
thing from
Tim Walz.
guys, and mind you, pal,
I can't believe it. I watched the news all weekend. NBC,
Guys, let's let
CBS,
Vinny
ABC.
finish. He's being
it's all
interrupted
good.
left
And I was
right.
getting
Keep going,
messages. I was getting messages on Minnect of a guy who really, he's actually awesome. It's one of my best Minnectors. We go back and forth. He's like, Vinny, but who's to say he's gonna do it here and martial law? I go, bro, just like with the tariffs. Relax. It's 30 days. The numbers don't lie. And Pat, this is the dude in Chicago running up to the camera. Look what he says for Trump to do. This is in Chi-Town. Go ahead.
Hey, Trump, you need to bring the National Guards to Chicago, man. You got kids killing kids, man. That's not good, man. Washington, D.C., is not much going on compared to Chicago, man. I'm running. It's a war happening right now.
He's running
Chicago,
to get the hell out of...
Hey, look, man. Look, go on the news. Or go on Google, type Chicago. I'm going back home to Africa, man. I can't.
The guy's
you know
going
it's bad
back
when
to
he's like, I'm out of here, bro.
The guy's like, I'm going back to Africa. I can't do Chicago.
Wow.
And it's like nobody. And again, and I told this guy on Minnect, I go, guys, if
This guy right here connected you?
No, not this guy. He's like,
Vinny,
hey,
I'm on
Vincent,
my
you
way
want to
back.
come with me? I heard it's bad in Florida. But my thing is this: if these Democratic leaders got their crap together and actually protected, because you know what it is too, Pat? Everybody wants to talk tough and crime. Nobody wants to get their hands dirty, okay? Because the people, and there's another video I saw of a girl, she was in D.C. at night, a black girl, windows down at a red light, and she goes, thank you, Trump. I get to be at a red light with my windows down and not afraid that I'm gonna get mugged or shot. This is it.
Finally able to chill at a red light with my window down, not worried about if one of them young niggas is coming.
Look, she's just
Ride through the city.
You know, you can pause that. You can pause that. As simple as it is, sometimes, you know, it's the simple things in life that you don't think about when you don't have security.
Exactly.
When you have security, you don't even know you have it. When you don't have it, you realize the value of just putting your window down driving.
Is that wild?
Yeah, no, it's for sure. Security is number one, and what he's doing right now with DC is telling you left, right, center, doesn't matter what part you are. People want this. Tom, your thoughts on the story of what's going on with D.C.?
What's going on in D.C.? Two things. First of all, the mainstream media always turn it into a referendum on Trump. They want to get rid of Trump, so they're going to mention Trump and authoritarianism. Those are the words they use. They don't talk about any of the numbers. Stephen Miller just dropped the numbers. If those numbers are correct for one weekend, what does that look like after a month? If those numbers are correct for a weekend, what does that look like just here as summer comes down? It gets colder in D.C., and supposedly when it gets cold in D.C., some of the stuff goes down because the people, you know, the homeless, you know, migrate a little bit because it's so cold. So my question is, why don't you guys want to talk about numbers? The answer is it's get rid of Trump at all cost, and the Dems are sacrificing people in terms of narrative because guess what? Everybody benefits from this. You've got people of color that are asking for protection, that they don't want to be a voting bloc that's pandered to. They want safety in their neighborhood just like everybody else. And this guy from Africa that came to the United States, don't know much about his background, but you hear his accent, he appears to be, you know, believable. And he's like, I'm going to leave and go back to Africa from Chicago. So you look at what's happening in these cities, and I think Trump is doing exactly the right thing because remember, he is not crossing over the authority and sovereignty of a state. It's the District of Columbia, and it was Christmas back in 1973 that they got the self-rule document, and it says if you can't do it yourself, Congress and the government will do it for you.
And that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
And by the way, and Spike, I don't know if you guys saw this, Spike Lee was on the podcast or whatever talking about Trump better think twice before doing a federal takeover in New York City. Meanwhile, there was a mass shooting yesterday. 3 people were shot in Brooklyn. 9 others were injured. And a week before, another maniac opened fire in downtown Midtown skyscraper and shot 4 innocent people and then shot himself. This attitude of Trump is trying to be this authoritarian. How about tell your leadership, clean up the street? And guess what, New York? Mamdani, who looks 90% he's going to win, wait till you see what happens when he takes police, defund the police, and put social workers. Think about this mentality, Pat. There's going to be stabbings and shooting. Somebody's going to show up and be like, how are you feeling right now? While he's stabbing and shooting people, and that's not a joke. I feel like Biden.
That's the future, but what about right now? Talk about Hochul. Hochul could ask National Guard from her state to go to New York.
Yes, and help.
She could do it.
Help.
But guess what? She won't do it because that means she has to admit that maybe her leadership didn't work. Maybe leadership in New York didn't work. Oh, and they're all Dems. They're never going to pick on themselves. And so those are the people they're sacrificing because they have the ability and the authority to do something about it right now.
Yep.
Okay, you said Spike Lee, by the way. Couple things about Spike Lee. Spike Lee just announced with ESPN that they're no longer doing Kaepernick's documentary. I don't know if you saw that or not. And when they asked him, why are you not doing it? He says, I signed a non-disclosure agreement or non-whatever it is that he can't discuss it. But also, this weekend, I had a chance to go watch the latest movie that came up with Denzel and Spike Lee. I think it's called Highest to Lowest. The two of them have done a bunch of different things together. I think Spike and Denzel did, what movie did they do together? They did Malcolm X together.
Yes.
And they did one other one together, 4 movies together. I think this is the 5th one. This is probably Denzel's worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely horrible. It was so annoying watching the movie. There was the end part of it. There's a scene that's a very good scene between him and the rapper, where they're sitting, in the studio, they're going back and forth. That 5-minute clip was great, but this is probably Denzel's worst movie I've seen in my life with Spike Lee. That took place. I actually don't think it was Denzel's typical personality for him to act in a movie like this. He's showing range, but it was hands down the worst movie I've ever seen Denzel ever do. And so funny, this is one of them, and the previous to this one was what? The movie with
Gladiator 2?
Gladiator 2, which was absolutely ridiculous.
Horrible.
I couldn't wait to walk out of that one. And what's funny with Denzel is American Gangster, God knows how many times I've seen it. John Q, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. Man on Fire, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. I'll go
Training Day.
Glory. I'll go to a lot of different things. Training Day. Horrible, absolutely horrible movie. Wait till it comes to VHS before you watch it.
And I love that. And them not wanting to show it because he said creative differences with ESPN.
Yeah,
and,
Kaepernick.
And because they were going to focus on. They wanted him just to focus on Kaepernick, but he was going to expand it into race and politics. Either way, America is tired of that race baiting BS that's trying to divide us. It's like people have moved on. It's over. Okay, and I'm happy that it's not going to air. And Kaepernick, it's like almost like every 6 months, whenever Kaepernick wants to sell something, he has to come back out and be like, hey, man, this country's racist. Okay, get out. I'm tired of it. I'm so happy it's not airing.
Gosh, I wonder if creative differences has anything to do at all with the NFL owning 10% of ESPN. Maybe they didn't want their part of the film portrayed in a certain way.
Great point.
Just a wild.
If you go back to it, and that's what I said.
Wow.
That's what I said. However, having said that, maybe it's also saying we got to get away from all this racist stuff that we keep insinuating.
Whoa.
The market just doesn't want to see it anymore. And there's nobody that caused more chaos in sports than this guy. He got so much attention for it, but I'm kind of glad this project's not getting done. Adam.
Well, black people love Donald Trump. I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago. And what we're starting to see is Trump doesn't care what you call him at this point. He's immune to criticism. They call him the Teflon Don. Real racist. You're prejudiced. Yeah, right. I love my blacks. And we're starting to see everything change. How many black people do you see online? Thank you, Donald Trump, cleaning up D.C. Come to Chicago, help us clean it up. How many Latinos do we hear we say, yes, get some of these illegal people out of this country? How often do we see people in California, who's the most liberal state, saying, we need more conservative policies? How many gay people do we see all the time being like, dude, this T thing, this trans thing is out of control? So we're going to see more of these people who you would typically never hear give Trump compliments, just to say, that's my guy.
Just really fast, guys, because I saw this, Rob, you might want to look it up. The NFL is continuing to feature anti-racism and inspirational messages in the end zones for 2025. Each of the 32 teams will display one of the 4 approved messages at their home games, which is end racism, stop hate, choose love, or inspire change.
Well, I got to tell you, Vinny, great point. I was super racist before I started reading those signs.
You have no idea.
And then they told me end racism. I said,
yeah.
I had an idea.
And on top of that, the NFL this year added male cheerleaders.
I saw that.
Minnesota Vikings and
Patriots.
Guys, a bunch of them added.
Adam's trying out.
No,
at
I already
lunch.
made it. I'm on the Dolphins. So come
right
check
there.
me
NFL
out.
teams face backlash.
In Minnesota.
Go, zoom in a little bit, Robert. Can you go to the next page? So that's one.
Yes.
Falcons, another one. Keep going, Rob.
Just cheers. Oh,
So they're kind of doing what they're doing, and then he comes in out of
Don't
nowhere.
tell me he's coming in. Oh, my God. Look at Adam. Look at Adam.
Give me a D.
Okay.
D. Give me an I.
It's
give me a C.
Every time you think the NFL is going back to normality, they
Who's
do
this girl?
something
She's
like
cute.
this.
And they
Every
always- this
single
girl's pretty
time
cute. What's her deal?
They go back to this. You think people are coming to the NFL to watch male cheerleaders?
No.
Really?
That's why I go, Pat.
Do you think men who like other men are diehard fans of the NFL?
No.
Do you think they're coming and saying, I want to see male? And if that's the case and you're targeting a 1%, what are you going to be doing next? Who knows? Look, there are some guys that you see that like NFL, but at the same time, that's not the core. What is this right here? Oh, this is another one of those?
No, he's a trans
cheerleader.
He's a
Bro, if you ever go to
Look
college,
at his crotch is hanging out. Like, what are we talking
that
about,
thing is
bro?
hanging
Well, he
out for
could be
sure.
playing. He could be playing football.
You ever go to college football games? PBD.
Yeah.
You ever go to college
You could
football
do a
games?
10 and out.
I have.
Okay, so in college football games, they're actually male cheerleaders.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. They're actually big,
they're
strong
holding
men,
chicks.
and they're throwing girls up in the air, and they're catching them. They don't pretend to be the girls with the pom-poms.
No, we've had
weird. Come on, Queen.
By the way, we've had executives and have executives who were male cheerleaders that hold the girls and do all that stuff. But
They don't hold the pom-poms,
To
though.
go to this direction, to me, my opinion, I don't know, man.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I
man.
just
think
bought
it's too
season
much.
tickets
But
to the
anyways,
Vikings.
well, it makes sense. But so let's go to the next story here with what I want to go through what happened with. Can you pull up Bill Maher's clip, Rob, of the one where he says, "Why don't these liberals come on my show?" Okay, if you can go on that. Is this the one, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go for it.
Ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. The Republicans, they show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man.
What's a man?
Yeah. So you know why they don't show up, Bill? Ask the question, why they don't show up. Maybe because they feel like they own you. You know, maybe because they feel like your audience is theirs, like they work for them. Maybe because they feel like you'd never vote Republican. You'd never vote for Republican. You'd never vote Republican in 2028. You know that. You work for them, and it's for free. You're going to constantly, you go as close as agreeing with Trump, but then I'm voting for Kamala. You go as close as saying, I can't believe what they did with vaccine, but I'm taking it. You'd go as close to here and then go over here. That's why they know what you're going to be doing. You're fairly consistent. You're consistently voting for them. So they don't need to come on your show. They don't need to come talk to your audience. They already own your audience. And unfortunately, what this also does say, though, is the following, okay? What places, let's actually go through and see the criticism of some of the politicians in 2024 election last year. 2023, 2024. Who got criticized for not going on all podcasts last year?
Kamala Harris.
No, on the Republican side. Who got criticized for not going? DeSantis, probably the biggest one.
Ron.
We had to make 5 videos of saying, what the hell are you doing, for finally be like, okay, I'll come over here. And finally comes on. By the way, apparently, Michael Wolff, I was talking to him this Saturday, the Fire and Fury guy?
Yeah.
Apparently in his last book, he talked about us in his book with the DeSantis scene. He says, you were in my last book. I said, which part? And Humberto says, yeah, the whole part with DeSantis was in Michael. You know who Michael Wolff took Fire and Fury?
Of course.
Out of all the episodes that made it. DeSantis, you were even in Michael Fury's book, but
Michael Wolff's book.
Michael Wolff's book, yeah. But if you think about it, not this one, his latest book. So if you think about it, Nikki Haley, she didn't go on podcasts.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Christie didn't go on a lot of podcasts.
Nope.
Okay, Vivek, everywhere. Anywhere.
He was here twice.
RFK, anywhere. Okay, you go talk to Trump, anywhere, any place. Democrats, no. You know what that shows, Bill? Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're scared because their policies have holes in them. Maybe they're scared because, there has to be gamification. Maybe they're scared because it's the same old way of doing business. Maybe they're scared because their policies haven't necessarily been proven right too often, where they're kind of like wanting to sit on the sidelines. Maybe they're still old school, where they feel like, questions have to be given to them, and a guy like you maybe doesn't want to give the questions. I don't know. Maybe you would give the questions. I don't think you would, because while I'm watching Bill, here's another take on Bill. Okay, Bill on Trump. Rob, do you have that one on him on Trump? He almost gets emotional here. Watch Bill. To be fair with Bill, because I think he's played a very important role the last couple of years. Watch this clip here. Go for it.
Look, I'll say this for Trump. He's got this idea that America is still the biggest swinging dick in the world, and we have not used our power as much as we should. That's what the tariffs are about. We have the power to change these people's, other nations' trading practices with us, some of which were out of line. I'm surprised that people went along with it as much as they did. So he wasn't completely wrong about that. He said, look, NATO hasn't been paying their fair share. I'm going to make them do that. He wasn't wrong about that. And I'll tell you this, one thing about him that I know, I'm not going to tell you how I know, but a lot of people have seen the same thing. He really does hate war. Right. He really does not like it when people die in war. There's 4 different wars.
It's almost like Bill Maher is
genuinely, for him to say that.
That's right.
Wow.
So you know what it is with Bill? They hate people like Bill.
Of course.
The left.
Mm-hmm. He's
because
thinking.
You know why? Because there's too much reason.
Yeah.
There's too much reason. He is willing. Go to the power versus force, Rob, if you could, the chart. When you go to the power versus force, Bill Maher is willing and is accepting and is able to reason. Those are all the qualities they hate.
Past courage.
Look at courage level 200. Then go neutrality. Then go willingness. He's willing to go visit Trump. He is accepting that he won. He is willing to reason. And I actually think Bill Maher loves America.
Wow, he's up there.
I actually think Bill Maher loves America.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, you
don't think he loves America?
I'll leave it at reason.
I believe Bill loves America.
Of course,
I
think
believe
so too.
Bill loves America. I believe he's. So what's the point of where it's going to today? On original statement with Bill. Well, it's they're not coming here. They're not coming. There is a reason. There is a reason. Why would somebody? I went and sat down in front of 20 anti-capitalist socialists in LA, knowing the fact that these guys are in college right now. They're being fed everything by the professors on the left. They have every history story. I'm not reading history books like the way they're reading right now. They're in school. I knew what was going to happen. I'll sit down and talk to you. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about? These topics, these issues? Let's sit down and talk about it. The people on this side, they're willing to entertain ideas that they have knowledge on, that they're willing to go. The only reason you don't want to go sit down and have a debate with a topic is what? It's not a topic I'm knowledgeable on.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, we want you to come and debate why tariffs suck. Guess what? If you do it, I
have one or two good points, but I'm not going to.
But if they want to debate Tom on tariffs, guess what? Tom should do it. He would do it, right? So the reality of it is, like this part when even Bill is starting to say something like that, no one is surprised. It's to the point that right now he's giving credits on the tariffs. Do you know what China just said? China just admitted that Trump's tariffs are taking a toll on their economy. Think about that. That they have to finally admit that it's taking a toll on their economy. Let me read this to you. China's economy weakened in July with Beijing acknowledging the impact of U.S. tariffs, as stated by Fu Lingyu, spokesman and chief economist of China's National Bureau of Statistics, which Tom's got a very good point to say about that, who noted the international environment in July was complex and severe with the continued impact of trade protectionism and unilateralism. Official data showed industrial output rose 5.7% year over year, down from 6.8% in June. Retail sales growth slowed to 3.7%, the lowest in 2025, and unemployment rose to 5.2%, with millions of college students struggling to find work. Chinese exports to the U.S. fell 22% in July compared to the previous year. Amid ongoing trade negotiations with the Trump administration, the U.S. and China extended a temporary trade truce in May for another 90 days on Monday, keeping U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods at 30%, higher than during the Biden administration, but lower than the 100% rates in April, with Trump administration also closing tariff loopholes like the de minimis exemption and transshipment through third countries. They're feeling the pain. Oh, tariffs are not going to do anything to China. We're going to pay price for it. Really? That's not what China is saying. Tom, thoughts?
I'll tell you, I have a few thoughts here. China was, how many of you out there, and I'm sure there's people out there, think about this, Vinny. Let's say you have a company and you have one big customer and you really rely on that customer. Mm-hmm. And they go from 20% of your business, 1/3 of your business, 40% of your business. It's like what I used to talk to my dad about. It says, remember, in business, if you owe the bank $10 million, you're in trouble. If you owe them $1 billion, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so you take a look at this. You have this one giant customer, and then that customer says, hey, we're really having a tough time. We might go into a recession. Who panics? You. You're like, oh my gosh, 40% of my business is relying on this customer. Now this customer is in trouble. That's exactly what's happened to China, because underneath China, they had a poor labor market. They have poor opportunities for the next generation. They have a completely mismanaged real estate industry throughout you see them tearing down apartment buildings that were built to make mini cities in the wrong areas. Yeah. And there was no one to live there. And so they're tearing them down. Ghost cities. Guess what was a big Band-Aid on top of it? Another $10 billion of trade with the U.S. It was a big Band-Aid. And what did Trump do? Daddy's home. And so all of a sudden, the U.S. exports fell 1/5 this July versus last July. So people want to know, whoa, you haven't got a trade deal with China yet. You haven't got a trade deal with China yet. They'll be here.
Yeah.
They'll be here. This puts us closer and closer to a deal.
Adam.
Yeah, Tom's absolutely right. If you see what's going on, there's slow growth. There's exports have dropped significantly. They have empty ships without cargo. Factories are laying off work. I think they actually just played like, let's make a deal to try to inflate these ghost cities with real estate. They're basically saying, listen, guys, we're going to give you half off. We're going to give you subsidies. Buy some of these apartments because there's nobody living there. So imagine building apartments all around Nebraska, Omaha, Iowa. You're doing all these cities and then nobody's moving there. And now they're like, we'll give you half off.
Come work at the factory. Free apartment.
Please.
Yeah.
So free. Where have I heard that before? Communism. So yeah, Tom's absolutely right. China's going to feel the heat. I don't think they've succumbed to the full deal yet, but it'll happen. Tom, great point. If, 25, 50% of your deals that come through one, what'd you call it? One customer. You have a major problem if that customer stops buying.
Trump, while this is taking place, says no imminent plan to penalize China for buying Russia oil. Rob, I think you have a clip on this one here. He says that while saying at the same time, semiconductor tariffs are coming soon. And you know how high they could reach, according to Bloomberg? 300%. 300%. Wow. So what is he doing? Here's him and Bill and Brett Baer. Go ahead, Rob.
That Putin comes to this table maybe in an economic pinch, and that maybe the things you've already done have put him in an economic pitch. Is there an economic side to this, as Russia hoping to open up to the world?
Well, he lost an oil client, so to speak, which is India, which was doing about 40% of the oil. China, as you know, is doing a lot. And others, have another few countries. And if I did what's called a secondary sanction or a secondary tariff, it would be, very devastating from their standpoint. If I have to do it, I'll do it. Maybe I won't have to do it.
It's typical Trump. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have to do it. I won't.
Yeah,
do it.
maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't do it. But the reality of it is this is also leading to, once Russia-Ukraine is solved, then tariff is solved. Semiconductors are part of the tariff issue because, that's also him trying to negotiate a future peace deal between China and Taiwan, which China is watching very closely on everything that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, because China knows their Ukraine is Taiwan, and they're watching that in a way to see what they're going to be doing next.
Correct.
All eyes on Russia, Ukraine, Zelenskyy, Putin, all of that going on from China's perspective. Tom, your thoughts?
Final
on this?
thought on semiconductors, make it real quick. Trump cleared the boards of regulation and to allow semiconductors to come back to the United States. They want TMSC, Taiwan Semiconductor Company. They want to be here. A factory was started in Arizona under Biden, as a matter of fact, the CHIPS Act. But now what Trump is saying, what Trump is also saying? He's putting the American semiconductor industry on the clock, saying, you said you were going to build your factories here. Get on with it. Build, baby, build, because as soon as he puts the tariffs over there, it's expensive unless they're made here.
That's right. Now, part of this is also, Apple, $600 billion, all these other companies that made the promises. Pressures on a lot of people because he's moving faster than businesses are. And businesses are not accustomed to the government, the White House moving faster than them. But there happens to be an entrepreneur in the White House who's accustomed to moving fast. And they're not fans of that. But let's go to the next story here. Redistricting. Okay, so Democrats released proposed new California congressional map. And while this is going on because Newsom said, he's going to finish him. That's Newsom's claim. He's going to finish him. So Newsom leads California redistrict plans revealed in a leaked map. Rob, I don't know if you have that or not. If you want to pull that up, I'll read the story. So, and then Schwarzenegger had to say something. So here we go. Democrats, led by Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, submitted a proposed California congressional map to counter Republican-led redistricting in Texas. Earlier today, the DCCC submitted a proposed congressional map to the legislative public portal with collaborative input from stakeholders and legislators. We anticipate this proposal will have widespread support both among California office holders and various stakeholders across the state. The map targets 5 Republican incumbents, which is Kevin Kiley, Doug LaMalfa, Darrell Issa, which we showed this last week, Ken Calvert, and David Valado to create 5 blue-leaning districts aiming to neutralize Texas' plan to gain the 5 GOP seats. Gavin Newsom, pushing for November special election, said, they do 5 seats, we can do 5 seats, framing it as a response to President Trump's Texas strategy. Rob, go ahead. Is this a clip or an image that you're showing?
This is the map that they was leaked over the course of the weekend of the redistricting.
Got it. And can you show what it looked like before? So
yeah.
Is there a way to put them right next to each other to just kind of see what areas they're focused in? Tom, while this is happening, Tom, is that the one? Are you able to put those two together? Is that it? So if you watch close, this is massive if they're doing
you have
this.
to look up by Reno.
Wow,
you see Reno where the Nevada bends up there? Take a look at what just happened.
So that's real redistricting taking place.
Yep.
Yeah, they literally are taking a pencil and going through it.
There it is. There's what I'm talking about.
It's that salamander, Pat, you were showing us, that
Carson
gerrymander.
City by Vegas.
See, they're making it bigger and closer to Sacramento and taking out all of the red farmers along the Sierras.
Yeah, so that's going to replace 5 for 5 because California knows they have the power to do so. While they're doing this, a former somewhat rhino Republican governor named Arnold comes out and is mobilizing to oppose Newsom's push to temporarily scrap the state's nonpartisan redistricting commission, stating in a social media post, I'm getting ready for the gerrymandering battle while wearing a T-shirt saying terminate gerrymandering. Schwarzenegger, who championed the commission's creation through constitutional amendment in 2008 and 2010, opposes both Newsom's plan and similar Republican-led efforts in Texas, with his spokesperson, Daniel Ketchel, telling Politico he calls gerrymandering evil, and he means that. He thinks it's truly evil for politicians to take power from people. He's opposed to what Texas is doing, and he's opposed to the idea that California would race to the bottom to do the same thing. The commission, popular among California for public opinion polling, was designed to remove political manipulation from redistricting, but this is going to be taking place. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Once upon a time in 2008 and 2010, the Terminator was there, and you know what he was trying to do? I did some research on this. This was very similar to the Florida plan, that congressional districts have to be around cities and be districts that are drawn in a rational way around cities and population groups. That's what he was trying to do. And this was a nonpartisan redistricting commission that Newsom wants to scrap. I wonder why. So think about those 2 points, Vinny. You have a guy that said, hey, Florida's doing it right. That's not exactly what Arnold said, but Arnold said this plan was right. Happens to be what Florida does. Let's have a nonpartisan commission. So if anybody wants to do this, you know, we keep it sane so that the representation is around the people. And that's what Arnold did in 2008, 2010. So he's got the moral authority to speak up and say, I tried to create a commission on this. Don't do it. This is crazy.
And he's bothered. You know he's losing the battle. So
who he's losing?
Gavin, the Politico Citron Center survey found that 64% of California voters want the Dependent Redistricting Commission to remain in charge, while 36% want to return the authority to legislative control by Newsom and the Democrats. And listen, and I know you want to go to Adam. We got to give credit. We're all about competition in first place, and we got to give it up to Gavin Newsom. California, as of this weekend, leads the nation in unemployment and homelessness. So you got to just give it to Mr. Both.
I mean, he might win the triple crown.
Homelessness number one, unemployment this weekend. He's number one. Go ahead, Adam. Just want to give him credit where credit's due.
I actually have a question for Pat. Well, the one person who does show up, I know we were talking about how Bill Maher was calling the Democrats sort of weak and woke and they won't show up. The one guy that will show up, unfortunately for most people, is Gavin Newsom. Gavin with the good hair will show up, and he'll just spew his nonsense and slap people around. Vinny's mockery that he does of Gavin, but he'll show up and he'll just spew his lies. What I want to understand from you, Pat, and even both you guys spent a lot of time in California. I think you were there how many years, Pat? 20-something years?
24 years, yeah.
What are you hearing from people left, right, and center about this whole redistricting thing? You know, I don't spend a lot of time in California. We were just there, so I don't have a lot of boots on the ground. What are you hearing from average folks in California about this redistricting
I think
plan?
Honestly, it's irrelevant what I'm hearing from the people, because, you know, it's what he can do and what he cannot do, okay? So whether people want, of course people don't want this. You think liberals want this? They don't want this. They're already 43-9, okay? By the time Gavin's going to be done, it could end up being 48-4. Do you know what that means? 48-4? I think it would put him number one above everybody. Okay, if not number one, to be number two, but it's going to be up there.
Representative.
As a big state, dominating everybody else. He'd be ahead of Illinois. 48-4. Do you know what 48-4 means? Let me talk to my good friends in California, the Armenians and the Syrians that will be soon moving to Boca Raton. But let me talk to you guys real quick, okay? You know what that means?
Rob?
To those of you guys that go to sleep every night praying for California to be a red state during your lifetime, well, you're not taking advantage of Social Security, meaning you're not going to be in your 70s. And you're 40 watching this, you're saying, oh, you're eventually going to turn red. Maybe it may. What this says is, if they go 48-4, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? They're going to do everything in their power to change the state. They got destroyed in 2024 election. Every county in California voted more Republican than Democrat in 2024 election, according to charts that we've seen many, many different times, right? Every county. They got destroyed. It is the most embarrassing. Look at that, 2020 to 2024.
Wow.
It is the most embarrassing moment during, who was the governor in 2020 in California? Wasn't it a guy named Gavin Newsom? Who was the governor in the state of California in 2024? Wasn't it a guy named Gavin Newsom?
Yeah.
And then he's out there while this is taking place. Play the clip of him talking about on this one podcast. But watch this clip here. Nobel Peace Prize. Look what rhetoric he's doing.
Hold on.
You just go to my X account, Rob. That's all you got to do. You'll see it as the third clip. If you watch this guy,
he's a pro.
Trump broke these guys. Watch this real quick. Go ahead.
It is about the United States of America. He doesn't believe in that. He believes in the red states. He's going after. He's a war. He's a wartime president. He's the head of a war party. War on women. War on voting rights. War on Hispanics.
This doesn't work anymore.
War on this state. War on institutions. War on history. I mean, this is serious. This guy's trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
This is serious.
That's what he's going to try to say tomorrow in Alaska. That he's the big guy trying to find peace. Really? When he's bringing war to the American people? He put military in the streets, not of Baghdad. He didn't send the military in his first administration anywhere in the world. He sent the United States Marines into the United States of America in one of the bluest cities in this country, in Los Angeles, one of the great cities, American cities. That's what Donald Trump did.
Look at him.
That's
so
serious. Wait,
but
keep this in mind while he's doing this. Rob, can you go to the tweet? I said the following. I said they go up a little bit if you could. There you go. Fear porn, right there, Rob, just right there, zoom in a little bit. Fear porn no longer works. It may work in California, but not nationally. Trump broke the party, Newsom. You even tried to move to the Senate, but your party has a leash on you. Unfortunately, they seem to own you. Good luck. So this approach, you know how people say, well, it's going to be running for 2028, all this other stuff. This is not going to work in America in 2028.
Nope.
It's just not. Because you're in the space. If I, who knows more about basketball than this guy, if I watch stats, if I follow, if I'm in the game of giving feedback on sports and games and trades and all this stuff, and I don't follow the most important stats that are out there, if I don't follow it, what else am I following? Newsom, your world, the stat is polls. And polls from CNN, not Fox polls. CNN polls disagree with you. How many lies did you just make right there? Okay. When you go to National Guard, Tim Walz pulled National Guard on George Floyd during COVID, going around with, pellet, what was it? Paintballs, shooting up people that were coming out. Your guy did that, Tim Walz. Okay. You guys did that. Fear porn on war and the different claims that you're making, it's not going to work. So these guys, this is going to work. California 48-4. To all the Californians that are watching us, that's your governor. And I'm getting a bunch of messages. This person's going to run. That person's going to run. This person's going to run. That person's going to run. This is your last shot, California. Whatever you do, you best be involved in this next election. You all best go knocking on doors for your candidate that may be flipping the state. You best go out there and get to work. You best do your part, because if you don't, this becomes 48-4. Guess what? Nevada is an option. You got Texas is an option. And Boca Raton for the Armenians and Assyrians is an option. You'll see how many Armenians. Every week I see so many people that come and say, hey, Pat, I moved you. I watched your video. Hey, Pat, I moved you. I watched you. Hey, man, I just want to let you know. No, I didn't move here because of your video, but I moved to Florida. Hey, man, awesome. Our Cigar Lounge boardroom. Shout out to the boardroom Cigar Lounge. Sick. The new Platinum Lounge is insane. Our members, like immediately, our membership was Rob, can you go to Boardroom Cigar Lounge? You know how many people are in there that are just business people that want to be free? Who are what? Who are people that are, Rob, just go to the page, homepage, where you were at. Yeah, you know how many people that are just coming there, they're like, I just got out of California. I left this. I left the blues. I left New York. I left that. People are coming here, and they're talking to one another. But you're going to see, if this guy goes and gets to 48-4, it's going to be very, very problematic for California for a minute. So California for a minute. You best do everything in your power to go up against this guy. Tom.
So words talk, numbers scream. I got nothing to add to that except the numbers. If it's 48-4 California, that means you Republicans have 8.3% representation.
And that's what he said he was going to do, 17-8%.
And in the last election, it was 39.6%. So there's almost 40% of you voted in the election, and Gavin Newsom is going to screw you down to 8.3% representation in Congress. You know what? I think we'll see another wave of people leaving California, because you want to talk about authoritarian dictatorship. Yeah. That is the numbers of authoritarian dictatorship.
The challenge is those are the right comparison with the 8% would be 17%, because right now the House, Republicans have 17% of the House. He's going to move it to 8%. The 39.6 is what they voted on the election of the Republicans, but it's getting more. So let's just say you vote 39.6 for the president or whoever.
And you're underrepresented by congressmen.
Who cares? Who cares, right? Go ahead. Vote for a Republican president. Vote for a Republican governor. It's irrelevant. You know the laws for gerrymandering in the state of California? I think in California you can change it once a decade. And once it's changed, once a decade, you know how long you have to wait? A decade. So the next time you want to change a gerrymandering to refix it, if this goes through, which it most likely will, 2035. So between now and 2035, the part I love about California, they're so patient. They are some of the most patient people I've met in my life.
Good for them. Good for them.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, when you
hang in there,
nobility and patience goes together. You want to meet a patient, noble man, go to California. Go to California, meet a Republican conservative family that's extremely patient, that they believe
one day
it's going to be fine. So one day Ronald Reagan's going to resurrect and he's going to run again in the state of California. He's coming soon to California.
I met a couple. They didn't seem patient. They were very busy packing moving boxes.
Yeah, patient.
You got that one, Tom.
Little offensive, but that's a different story. Go ahead.
PBD, since you want to test my basketball knowledge, you know who Gavin Newsom is at this point? He's the Lakers between 92 and 96. He's Sedell Threet. Your boy. He's Nick Van Exel. He's Vlade
like
Divac.
You know who Sedell Threet
Don't
is.
talk to me
Don't talk like you know Elvin
NBA
Campbell, Tony
basketball.
Smith, Cedric Sabalas.
Don't talk to me like you know Eddie Jones.
He's Cedric
Sabalas.
Talk about Florida State.
He's the best player
1997
on the worst
whatever.
Team on a proud franchise.
If you ever say anything about Sedell Threet, I swear to God.
Say something.
Say one more thing about number 3.
Kids watching.
Yeah.
Sedell Threet will never be.
Stop it.
Dwayne
By the way,
Wade.
Rob, can you
never
pull
gonna
up,
happen.
Can you pull up the tweet that's been going on in about Newsom and J.D. Vance? Just go to Newsom's Twitter account. Click on that right there, Rob, that says Newsom, the handle right there. Newsom. Watch this. He reposts and saying, I missed that scarf. Go a little bit lower. Keep going. Right there. So click on that tweet. Yeah, so that's Gavin Newsom in high school versus
young
J.D. Vance.
What a douche.
Okay? So that's Gavin Newsom in high school with the scarf, right? He's got the hair. He's got the look.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
By himself.
Versus J.D. Vance.
J.D.
Do you know what this picture is going to be? It's going to be everywhere. Because what they're saying is 2028 is these guys going up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Newsom retweets it. And what does he say when he retweets it? He says, I missed that scarf. Okay? And it gets 10 million views, 150,000 likes, and it was just 10 hours ago. Which means the Dems, Pritzker's not going to get this many retweets and likes. Go back on the tweet and let's read what the comment section says, by the way. Because that's J.D. Vance. Go a little bit lower. See what it says. While I love infinite third world immigration. Now, great point. Vance has a kid named Vivek. Okay, so Gavin's 2 marriages, 1 divorce, self-confessed adulterer. J.D. 1 stable marriage. J.D. served 4 years as a corporal in U.S. Marines, Iraq, 2 medals. Gavin, 0 military service. Gavin, undergrad degree only. J.D. master's degree from Yale. J.D. #1 New York Times bestseller, author, hillbilly, clergy.
Mooch.
Became Oscar award-winning film, has made self-made millionaire. Gavin, no talent, mooched his millions from Getty and donors. J.D., this disciple of Christ, honest man. Gavin, worships abortion, Satan, liar. By the way, what I'm trying to show you is to know that's what's going to be on the news in 2 years from 27, 2028.
Oh, yeah.
Go a little bit lower. Your little musing about choosing
insipid little
musing pile of horseshit that deserves to be torched, Fury. Of course, I'd pick J.D. Vance. You insufferable, kale-sucking elite. Okay, go down. That guy's really angry.
I love that guy.
Okay,
He's my kind of guy.
And he gets angrier.
My kind of guy.
Send that guy a free Angry
One was born
Patriot
with a
shirt.
silver spoon in his mouth, which he's never been able to dislodge in liberal elite Marin County, California. The other born into poverty to an addicted mother, worked hard, served our country, and achieved the American dream. Thank you, J.D. Vance.
Oh, yeah.
Be ready for this, but I'm telling you, a wild card is going to be Marco Rubio. It's going to be the wild card.
Can we go back to that picture for a second?
A wild card is going to be Marco Rubio.
I mean,
go to the top.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to stay you guys are focused on the scarf. Good for
I
Gavin.
don't care less about
Let's focus on the chicks.
Was he in a bathtub?
Let's
Where's he
focus on the
sitting?
chicks with, fill in the blank who are using the urinal. This is the poster child for what's going on in California. The trans women who are basically going to the men's bathroom.
Disgusting.
The irony here, this is a
Disgusting.
joke. This JD, I assume, being funny. Ha ha, chicks are using urinals.
Yeah.
This is literally what's happening in California, not in Ohio.
But the point here is, guys, this is what's going to be everywhere in 2027.
This picture you're saying?
This is going to be everywhere in 2027, 2028.
But
just so
you think that'll affect JD?
No,
Okay,
I'm just
gotcha.
telling you what's going to be there and what they're going to be using.
Awesome.
They're going to be
funny
showing
high
this
school
2027, 2028 all over the place.
Over.
everywhere, you're going to be seeing this.
This is before social media, so that's when you could do whatever you want to do without.
Meanwhile, let's go to this next story. I want to go to this next story we got with nobody's buying homes, nobody's switching jobs, and America's mobility is stalling. So economy. This is a Wall Street Journal story. So let me get to this real quick. Page 13. Here we go. Americans are moving to new homes and cities at the lowest rate on record, with only 7.8% Americans relocating in 2023, down from 9.8 in 2019, 20% in 19. Wow. In the 50s and 60s, 20% of Americans were relocating to different areas, okay? Driven by high housing costs and stagnant job market. The frozen housing market prevents growing families like Brandon and Catherine, who bought an 1,100 square foot home in Summit, New Jersey, from upgrading due to scarce large homes and doubled mortgage payments at current rates, with Brandon stating the plan was to stay 5 to 7 years and then we'd upgrade to our family grew. Economists, including Chiang Tai-sing, man, I totally butchered that name, but from the University of Chicago, note that this immobility linked to expensive housing weighs on U.S. gross domestic product as it limits job opportunities and earnings. The job market has slowed, with hiring, quits, and layoffs activity in white-collar industries dropping to the lowest level since 2009, and the probability of workers switching employers falling from 2.8% monthly in 1990 to 2.3% 2020s, according to Philadelphia Fed data. This is pretty wild. So Massachusetts, due to insufficient relocation assistance, high-cost living, stating, this is an engineering grad from University of Penn, moving to Massachusetts with almost no money is very difficult, and instead found a job in Fort Worth, Texas. Tom, what's going on here?
What's going on is there's a couple things. First of all, we need to be building more. We need to be building more houses, but we need to be building them around areas where we get jobs. Where jobs? Well, how about Arizona, where we build a giant semiconductor factory? And so that's what we need. We need this. This is the hangover from the Biden administration's 4 years where nothing started. This is just a terrible hangover from that. And what you have here, and when they were telling us that there were jobs being made, but Vinny, remember that? They were recounting all the restaurant and amusement park and all the hospitality workers that went back to work after COVID. And they said, oh, look, I created all these jobs. Oh, and then we found out all the jobs numbers were suspect, and then Trump fired the head of the fake job numbers. Okay, so what we have right now is we have an economy where people are looking for jobs and they're looking for places to buy. What's really interesting right now, if you take 100 people that bought homes, take a wild guess, what percent of those you think is a first-time buyer?
Say it one more time.
100 people buy a home.
Okay.
How many are a first-time buyer?
Oh, no.
90%?
No, it's 24. It's 24%.
I was like, oh, no.
24%.
No, 90%.
No. Very
24%. Why do you do this every time?
Hey, Vinny, 1 + 1. Yes. Why did you do this to me?
Kentucky. No, but it was 30.
Go Wildcats.
It was 38%. You go back to the late 90s. It was 38%. Now it's only 24%.
24 versus 38.
So, and there's four
equals
things.
90.
Late 90s was 38% to now 24%.
Correct.
Damn.
So here's the four factors. Number one, the cost of the house, and interest rates going lower helps people be more affordable. But number two, if the house is more expensive, you have to check that leads to higher property taxes and higher insurance. And insurance is being adjusted up because they're changing risk in places like coastal Florida. Your homeowner's insurance is going to be a little bit higher because of the hurricanes. If you take a look at it, ready for this? In Florida, they collected 50% more property taxes than 4 years ago. And in Dallas, they collected 33% more property taxes. Now, the headlines will say they raised property taxes. No, they didn't. The houses became more expensive, and then when you buy a house, you pay the property tax based on the price you paid for the house. So what does America need right now? Bill Pulte is right. We need interest rates to go low, and it looks like we're going to get 3.25 rates cuts in a row. starting on the 16th, 17th of September. Then the next Fed will get 0.75 of a point to now in the other. That's good. But we also need job creation, like factories coming back to America, which is exactly what Trump's trying to get. And then we need homes, affordable starter homes, to be built in those areas. Yeah. So we need supply. So we need supply and we need job growth. And both of those things Trump can't do overnight, but he's putting things in place and he's pushing really hard. But until then, it's a tough job market and it's tough for people to find starter homes.
Adam.
Guys, go buy a home. It's expensive. Interest rates are high. You'll pay taxes, mortgage rates, your maintenance, your HOA. Who cares? You also don't have any money for a down payment. Go buy a home. It's the best investment you'll ever make. Go do that.
Adam,
maybe you're hearing some sarcasm from the guy who's been yelling from the rooftops. Don't buy a home. If you don't have a family or you're not permanently living in a city, it is at this point the worst investment you can possibly make. And again, I'm sure I'll hear it from the realtor crowd. There was a book that I read back in the day. It was called Who Moved My Cheese? You guys ever read this?
Yes.
What was the basic premise of the book?
Tell us.
Success goes to those who adapt. You ready for it? Adapt or die. You don't have money for a home, buddy. You don't have a job that pays you enough for a home. The one constant in life is change. What the world is telling you is maybe it's not my time to buy a house. Wait till interest rates drop. Wait till you have a better job. Move to a different city. Stay flexible. If you have the money, go for it. If you're just trying to figure it out like Vinny it is, save that money and rent.
Okay. So, again, to the community that's 46 years old, drives an Uber, and is single, doesn't want kids, is just kind of chilling, relaxing, still parties in Miami, 45-year-old, a 45-year-old. I just want to let you know, phenomenal advice from Adam.
But also if you're
Manetkin,
26.
Please. If you're 26, it's also great advice.
And if you're 36.
I don't know about that. I don't know if this applies to 100% of people.
When did I ever say 100%?
No, but when we say 36, it doesn't apply to everybody. Because to me, I've never lost money on a house I bought. Never. But I made way more money taking my money and putting it into my business.
Thank you.
Not even close. But the average person isn't that. The average person doesn't have, $500,000 to put into a business and 13 years later sell it for $250 million.
The average person doesn't have any money right now.
The average person doesn't have any money right now, but there are people that are working that have a wife, have kids, and they would like to own a home. To those who are in that position, and your trajectory isn't one that's going to go from a $63,000 a year job to a $200,000 a year job. Your $63,000 in 10 years could be 92. Or let's just say in 10 years it could be 101, and then 10 years later it's going to be 173 in 20 years. Let's say that's the trajectory. You're going to be better off going to a community that's an up-and-coming community that is going to be lower price place for you to buy. That's what it's really going to come down to. You have two choices. Have a smaller family, or if you want to have a bigger family, go to an area where cost of living is less. That's really the choices you got. A lot of people in Dallas, Rob, can you type in average value of home in Frisco in 1995? Average value of home in Frisco, 1995.
$248,000.
No, I think it's going to be lower than that in 1995. It's going to be probably $85,000. Okay, there you go. Median home, 1995 was $114,000.
Damn.
Okay, how much is it today? What is the average? Same exact question, except in 2025 in Frisco.
In Frisco,
700,
375.
I don't think it's 700, but I think it's going to be
375. I'm going
in 2025. So it's going to be 672
in Frisco.
Exactly.
Yes.
So by the way, check this out. If you would have bought a house in Frisco in 95, 30 years later, you have $560,000 of equity. That's where this argument loses.
No, because I'll tell you where, if you would have put that into your stock market or 401k, you'd have over $1 million.
No, you would not. So
yes,
let me finish with the statement
yes,
here.
Sir.
You're using it purely at a 12%. The part with this house argument, and I'm not a realtor. I can't believe I'm defending realtors.
You are.
Because of your ludicrous argument that you're making. No,
I'm sound judgment.
I'm a finance guy. What I'm trying to tell you is, notice that even the arrogant financial guru here said that the 114 in Frisco is going to be $320,000. His reaction to what it is today, 672. So now let's do the math. What do you think is going to be in 30 years in Frisco? You think it's going to have the same kind of growth that it had last 30 years? No, it's not. So I'm not telling you move to Frisco. What I'm saying to you is, what is the next Frisco? What is the next city that's being built that you can go in? Because your value today and the income you make doesn't allow you to go buy a house this big. Look at Fort Lauderdale. 5 years ago, 2019. You know what the median sale price of a home was in Fort Lauderdale 5 years ago? Go to 2019. Pull up the same exact argument, Rob, if you could. 5 years ago, 2019. In 2019, it was that's not right. Yeah, that's what it was. In 2019, it was 365. Today, it's what? Today, it's going to be $700,000. Let me see what the numbers, if you pull it up for today. Today, it's going to be $682,000. So it's doubled in 6 years. If something doubles in 6 years, you're getting 12% rate of return. Are you going to get that every 6 years in Fort Lauderdale? You're not, okay? But in Florida, the challenge with Florida is the fact that people are moving here from blue states like New York and Illinois. You can be strategic about it. That's all I'm saying to you right now. So if you're somebody that has the ability to buy, be strategic about it. Don't be reckless about it. But if you're somebody that 90% of your savings is going to go into a down payment of a house and that's it, you're going to be stressed out, do not do it. Don't do it. It's not for everybody. Don't take your entire down payment to buy anything if it's the savings that you have in a bank. So there is a part of the argument that for a 26-year-old or a 45-year-old who is an Uber guy, no wife, no kids, relaxed, chilling, enjoying fun, very minimalistic mindset, yeah, that also makes sense. But if you're planning on having a wife and kids and you want to find a way to increase your net worth the next 5, 10, 15 years, no one philosophy applies to everybody. Just be a little bit more strategic about it.
What percentage?
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, thank you for the personal reveals. However, what percentage
reveals? The world knows the reveals.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for reminding them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate that. You're married, 4 kids.
I'm trying to
respect.
help you. I'm trying to help you.
You want to be my realtor? You want to be my realtor? Is that what you're saying?
I would never.
I will hire you as my realtor, Pat.
Adam, I've had.
I know you're part of the Realtor Association
5 minutes
now.
with Pat. 48 minutes later, if you're Adam's realtor, holy shit, you better have a therapist with
Guys,
you. But go ahead.
Don't ever ask a follow-up
Go
question
ahead.
in a meeting with Pat because the 5 minutes goes to 45 minutes and you're labeled an overtalker. What percentage of people?
Well, you wear it well.
What percentage of people
should follow my advice versus your advice at this point? I'm saying for the average person, do not buy houses.
It's not your advice, Adam. This is an advice that I've been given for 20 years, that if you're an entrepreneur and you have something that can have a higher rate of return than a house, don't buy a house. I've been saying this for 25 years, and I've lived it.
Okay.
So my idea is I've lived that life.
I agree.
Right? Okay. But for the person that is not, and they're in their career that you may be moving, don't lock yourself into something for 5 to 7 years because you may move. If you move, you buy a house, you're locked in to that area, okay? But for everybody else, if your resources allows, you ought to entertain it. Not for everybody,
What percentage of people, though?
I don't think this, as a guy that's done and has sold 750,000 life insurance policies in the last 20-something years and has had tens of thousands of clients that we've sat down with, no two cases are the same. It varies. Age of kids, the temperament of the marriage. Are the husband and wife pretty good together? Do they think they're going to be together? Is it constant chaos the last 2 years? If it is, and you both know that this is not going to be working out, you may not want to buy anything together right now and try to work on your marriage. Is she getting demoted? Is her job going away? Does she have a job that asks? There is no black and white answer to this. It's such a complicated answer. The only thing I'm telling you is there is no 100% black and white answer to complicated case like that today.
I agree with you. I've never said that it's black and white or 100%. What percentage of single people, you're not married, you don't have kids, different lenses, I totally get that. What percentage of single people should go out there and buy a house today?
What do they do for a living?
They make 80 grand a year.
How much cash do they have in place?
38 grand in the bank.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I'm not
Why
buying
not?
anything. Because 38, if you buy anything with the average price is $500,000, you need to put 20% down. Let's just say you put 10%. You can't even afford to buy a house.
Now, what percentage of Americans do you think fall into that category?
For the
You're
young?
single, you're 30, you make 80 grand, and you have 50 grand to your name.
You're asking a question of like this. Vinny, if you're 47 years old, handsome, you take care of your body, you're funny, should you marry an 87-year-old who's single?
I mean, what does she do for a living?
That's how Adam's asking this question.
No, that's so unfair.
Yeah, Palm Beach is where we're going.
So should Vinny buy a place right now?
Prenup or no prenup?
I'm not doing 20 minutes on the story.
If it's no prenup, I'll go.
Yeah.
All I'm telling you is no two stories is
Pat,
for everybody.
who said that?
Yeah. Let's move on
You think
to
I'm
the
saying
next.
that?
I'm going to go to a Vinny story.
No, I don't.
Okay?
I want to stay right
Vinny,
here.
Yes, sir.
Israel Cyber
Vinny story.
Directorate
Timing.
employee arrested in U.S. on suspicion of pedophilia.
Yes.
Let me read this, and I'm going to come to.
And I actually really want. I really want Adam's opinion on this.
Yeah,
story.
let me.
If you show a picture of me right now, I'm going to be very upset.
No.
Tom Artyom
Alexandrovich,
38, a senior employee of Israel's National Cyber Security Directorate, was among 8 men arrested in Vegas, an FBI joint operation targeting online sexual exploitation of minors, with police stating, "We would like to remind parents to discuss with their children the dangers of engaging with strangers online." Alexandrovich, charged with felony counts of luring a child with a computer for sex acts, was booked at the Henderson Detention Center and released on $10,000 bail, returning to Israel and placed on leave. As a cyber director noted, the employee updated the directorate that during his trip to the United States, he was questioned by the U.S. authorities on matters unrelated to his work, and he returned to Israel at the planned time of return. The operation conducted after 2 weeks also arrested David and a few other guys, all these other names. Go ahead, Vinny.
So, by the way, this isn't just some low-level tech nerd. This is the acting head of data and AI for Israel's National Cyber Directorate. Okay, he works directly under Bibi Netanyahu, okay? And that arrest, Pat, the sting operation, which was the FBI, Homeland Security, and Nevada Police, they targeted these sex predators. He was in town. Remember that time we were in Vegas? They were doing that hacker, black hat hacker. It's the biggest hacker conference in the world. He was there. He's a part of AI. He was booked at Henderson Detention Center and charged with a felony for luring a child online for sex. Okay, that normally goes from 1 year to 20 years in prison. But the next day, and just like I think a couple of the guys as well, because there's 8 of them, posted a $10,000 bond. And despite he has zero diplomatic immunity, he got to go back to Israel. Netanyahu's office put out a statement saying that he was not arrested. He was only questioned, but multiple sources, guys, The Guardian, Jerusalem Post, Israel, Times of Israel, and all confirmed, everybody, including the Henderson County. Rob, you have the police actual arrest that I put? That's the guy. That's him. Okay, he was really booked. This is no BS hearsay. He wasn't the only one caught. Among the other suspects was Pastor Neil Harrison Creasy of Redemption Church in Las Vegas. Weird. He was also arrested in the sting. He resigned from his church shortly after being released from the same $10,000 bond. Here's my only problem, guys. If you're a foreign national and you're trying to lure a child in America to have sex, you don't post bail and leave. Normally, Pat, because I did a lot of research, your passport is seized, your travel is restricted, and you're considered a flight risk, okay? The fact that he was let to go back to Israel within 24 hours means somebody, federal government, I don't know, Rob, can we try to find out who is the district attorney of Henderson County? And that's actually a really good question, in Las Vegas. It's just weird, Pat. You can't, none of those other guys, even if they posted bail, you can't leave the country. Because who's to say that you're not going to be able to come back? You can't just leave. They're supposed to take your Tom, do you know, like, you're supposed to take your passport.
Yeah, there's flight risk. Bail is directly related to flight risk. Like Diddy, they said he's got all these private planes. He could go to Belize. He could go to somewhere. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, he was acquitted of many of the charges, and there's some of the smaller ones that he was guilty of. But the whole discussion about Diddy's bail was flight risk.
Yeah, we don't want you to leave the country. And it's just...
More importantly, we want you to show up at the appointed time for your trial.
Yeah, and exactly, because who's to say, like, and I know they have, there's a watch group called the Jewish Community Watch, which has tracked over 60 people who are accused of sex abuse who fled back to Israel. The activists have said the real number is like around 100 with rabbis and teachers and all that stuff. There's a case of Malka Leifer, Leifer, who fled to Australia in 2008 after was abusing more than 70 girls. Okay, 70 girls. And this just shows you that Israel can drag out the extradition because we have an extradition treaty, but sometimes they're like, nah, we'll deal with it here. She wasn't sent back till 2021. And only in 2023 she was finally convicted. So here's my thing. Who gives the okay for someone who was arrested for that?
So say the other story you said about Australia.
What is that? So Malka Leifer fled Australia in 2008. Yeah. She was alleged for abusing 70 girls. Yeah. She went to Israel. She was an Israeli citizen. And they kept her there, and she didn't come back to face authorities in Australia till 2023.
Israel didn't release him.
Israel was like, Israel, yeah,
they kept him.
They keep him there.
So your argument here is,
how do you leave?
Why did they release? Where is he at now?
He's in Israel.
Now, where is he today?
Who?
Tom Alexandrovich.
Tom's in Israel. They let him go back to Israel.
He was arrested,
and he's on leave.
The luring child, released custody, has returned to Israel. Okay,
he's on leave. So he's not arrested.
Adam, what's your thoughts on this story?
First, I'm hearing it, but what's your point?
My point is how, when anybody charged a foreign national, if right now, God forbid, one of us got in trouble for something like this, which I'm just being, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Your passport and everything is, every single one of those 8 guys, your passport has to be taken at him because right now you're charged for trying to have sex with an underage kid, which, by the way, that what they were trying to do was 16 or under. Actually, it was under 16. What's to stop you from leaving the country and never coming here to face the charges? Because these are serious. This is a serious felony charge, and especially as the freaking #1 hacker guy, which horrible at his freaking job for covering his tracks. How was he allowed to leave the country and his passport not frozen?
What do you have thoughts on this?
I a couple things, and you said a couple words here. We always are very careful to be very fair.
Of course.
So right now, he was questions, and these are allegation pending charges, but he wasn't charged. So it appears that somebody that works for an Israeli government agency gets into some alleged trouble over here and gets detained for questioning, also known as arrested, regarding sex, and solicitation of sex trafficking with minors.
Yes.
He does not get indicted, and he just goes back to Israel at the appointed time. And the outrage that you're feeling, that I see, is, wait a minute, did the Israeli government have a guy working for one of their departments that gets on, into some allegations and some hot water here, and they just get him back to Israel and say, look, he's not going to be charged, let's get this guy out of here? Yeah. That's what it looks like to me. So be careful with charge.
I just want to read you this. According to The Guardian, felony charges confirmed.
Yeah,
Nevada
charged,
authorities
Tom.
have officially charged him with a felony, luring a child with a computer for sex act, a serious offense under Nevada law.
Yes.
His case was detailed in official court documents and reported by reputable news outlets. His biography confirms he was charged in a $10,000. Okay.
Perfect. Then we were correct. This article from Jerusalem Post says
I'm glad you're doing that, Tom, by the way.
Yeah, no, I love
I'm
that.
glad you're doing this, for sure. But the question becomes this. If it's charged, so Nevada releases him on $10,000 bail, which is not a lot of money.
No.
So he's trying to lure a child.
Yes.
And nothing has happened that they've caught?
No, mind you, this was a sting operation that they've been trying to get these guys, 8 of them, for FBI Homeland Security. So it's a sting operation. He thought that he was going to hook up with an underage child. So they catch them in this thing, they arrest them, they charge them because of this report.
Yeah, we've seen those things. And the guy, like 10 guys come jumping out of the apartment and pin you down. And
Mario, and I tried looking up what the other 6 did, Pat. None of their job. I wanted to put everybody on blast. Rob, could you grab all of them so we can show all 8 of them? Show all 8 of the guys. One of them, like I said, is a pastor. He's been fired. So now these are all the other ones are Americans. So they're here. You post the bond. You have a court date. Just like I'm pretty sure this Tom guy has a court date, but he's back in Israel. Okay? You shouldn't be able to leave this country with a serious felony charge like that, period, unless somebody was like, hey, listen, this guy works for our government. He works under, Bibi Netanyahu. We got to get him. We got to get him back.
Why'd they let him go?
That's you tell me, Adam. That's my only question.
So I do have feelings on this now because it's. I hear what you're saying, and I know how passionate you are about pedophilia. If this guy allegedly did what he did, throw this scumbag in jail.
I know.
But here's also the problem that I have. It's Israeli Cyber Director headline. Here we go. Oh, by the way, there were 7 other scumbags that were arrested again. One was a little bit of pastor. 7 other guys. We don't need to talk about them. Let's talk about the Israeli guy. Hold on.
Okay.
Because I'm just saying, like,
that's not it.
It.
No, Adam, because you know what? Those other 7 are booked, charged, and they have to go to court, and they're going to probably go to jail.
Okay, so
how
maybe
do you leave the one
become
guy
an international lawyer and figure out what the relationship is with Israel and Nevada. I don't know. What I'm saying is this. Multiple people were booked. Multiple people allegedly did this, and the only one we're talking about
he fled
is the Israeli guy.
Because he was allowed
and if we
to
want to
leave
if we want to go down the rabbit hole of who the goat of pedophilia is, look no further than the Catholic Church. So I'm not sure what game you're playing right now.
Okay,
but
see,
if you're trying to make it out
I'm happy you went there, because this is the problem. This is the problem that you can't address.
I addressed the problem. He's a scumbag.
You said everybody.
But you fell for the headline.
No. And Adam, you're getting emotional because you're making this. No, because Adam, I'm responding to a freaking headline that was all over the news on the weekend that I saw.
Who wrote the headline?
On my own. I saw it all over.
Who wrote the headline?
What do you mean who wrote the headline?
Who wrote
There was a bunch of different outlets. The Guardian,
this one that you're
Times of
reading.
Israel, the Jerusalem Post.
Exactly. The Jerusalem Post is actually
Adam, why is
calling a crime out where it should be.
Why is it mainstream
No, it
media
didn't.
covering?
The Jerusalem Post said
that's the article we're reading.
He was only held for questioning.
And that's, brother, this came from BB's
This
office
was
saying he was
the
only
article
questioned.
you just read.
Okay, guys, let's do this. I'm not trying to make a 5-minute story, a 20-minute story. Let me tell you where I'm at with this here. It's very simple for me. Okay, and by the way, I'm the guy that interviewed the new owners of Pornhub and called them out, and it was one of the worst PR stunts that they did here, and it was a terrible look. And I brought the other lady, Micklethwait, right after that interview, and she went after them. So I have no tolerance for stuff like this with kids whatsoever. Both things could be right. If this guy did this, and the other guys, because I pulled it up right now, I said, what is that crime in the state of Nevada? Okay. In Nevada, what happens if you do similar crime to what Tom Alexandrovich did? Luring a child with a computer for a sex act falls under Nevada revised statutes of 201, 560, 201, 570. Here's how it works. It's illegal for any adult to use the internet, text messaging, or other technology to lure, attempt, persuade a minor to engage sexually. Category B felony. If convicted using a computer network to lure child sex act, classified category B, 1 to 10 years in prison, up to $10,000 fine. A conviction generally requires mandatory registration as a sex offender, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's that part. Now, why did they release him? Of course, we're naive if we say it's not because he's tied to the government of Israel. If you are that delusional that you can't say there could be the influence that Bibi made a phone call and said, no, he's getting out of here, he's coming to us, and he's going to be judged here. True, that's that. 3, you think Bibi is happy the fact that he behaved this way? You think Bibi needs another story like this? No. So you think he's just going to go back there and say, good job, buddy, keep doing it?
No.
That's also not the case. So all of those 3 could be right, but a part of what Adam is also saying is right, because there is a community that there was a comedian that did something that I was looking at, Persian guy, I don't know who he is. He did this, which was very funny. He's showing a guy that's preparing for a podcast, and he's looking for stories. And he tells a story. What's the story? Well, what country has committed the most crime? Well, Syria, well, Egypt, with this, with that. No, what other country? Well, this, with that. Well, there was an Armenian that got hurt in Israel. That's the story we have to talk about. Put that at the top of the story. So there is also this thing where the community that is completely been sabotaged, that the only thing they search for is, what can I do to talk shit about Israel? That's also there. And by the way, I have no problem with that. If that's the story that person wants to die on, go at it. Make your search engine to just show you stuff that's bad about Israel. I can sit there and also do the same for a lot of different people, but that's why I'm still reading the story, because I want the audience to say, this is what you wanted to know more about. You ought to know it. If he did that, the guy belongs in jail, and make sure everybody in prison knows what he was trying to do, so they can do to him what he was trying to do to another minor.
We go.
I'm supportive of that. Let's go to another story, and then we'll wrap up. Any story that you guys really want me to come to that we haven't covered yet? If not, I'm finishing the podcast. Rob, let me see what I had in my notes. I thought I had something, Rob, that I wanted to show from the videos. Did you see which one it was that I wanted to cover, Rob? Let me just go to it, guys. Give me one second here.
And while you're looking, Pat, did you see the guy, the Abu Musa, the ballot dropping?
Give me one. I want to show this one thing, which I freaking love. And the reason why I want to show this is because this is two things I want to show. Rob, I want you to have this one. Oh, shit, I got a facilities meeting. There's two things I want to show. Rob, show this one with Zach. Who's your favorite guy? Zakaria. Okay. So watch this Fareed Zakaria, what he does to Rahm Emanuel. Watch this, folks.
He was just on
Go ahead,
flagrant, too.
To be fair, this is actually...
I was being fair.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes.
Former mayor of
impossible
Chicago,
to build, so the cost of housing... Let me finish. I'll give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go to look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey,
and I think
I live in L.A.
Right. Listen, the Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is
he's a Democrat,
more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
How uncomfortable was
very
Rahm Emanuel?
Did Rahm respond?
Well, you go watch the whole show. I just have the clip. But the point is, it's getting to the point that there are those reasonable Democrats like him. And I know, Adam, this is your guy, so I wanted to kind of tee you up if you wanted to say something on this. That he is sitting with the former mayor of Chicago, whose brother runs, Endeavor, Ari Emanuel. They made a whole show about this guy, saying it to his face on Bill Maher. Adam.
I mean, facts don't care about your feelings. Everything he's saying is accurate. It sucks. The best cities in America are blue. The best cities historically in America are blue. New York, L.A., San Francisco, Chicago. Every major city is blue. But as we're seeing the woke get woker and weirder, and all these policies, high taxes, crime, homelessness, everything, cost of living, cost of housing, all of a sudden, people are going to be moving out of these cities and going to red states. Where's the most migration happen to? Florida, Texas, Nevada to an extent, Tennessee. At some point, if you can get up and move, you don't have to buy a house, you can rent. You're not going to sit and just sustain all the trauma and drama that a blue city provides you. It's not fun.
Okay, I want to give one last shout out to Harley Kennard, okay? If I'm saying your name correctly, brother, I want to give that shout out. So here's Harley Kennard. Can you go to his story, please? Go to his story, and let's just kind of keep going through some of these stories. He's going to be so surprised we're doing this.
It doesn't know.
Go next. Go to the next story.
You're probably wondering what I'm doing.
Next story, and then stay right here. Watch this. 18 hours of driving, of listening to PBD podcast on binge. We need an Aussie version of this show. Look at this. Look where he drove to where, and he's watching this podcast from Australia. Okay.
What?
I don't know who's watched it longer and listened to it longer. I don't know if I can listen to myself for 18 hours, but I just want to give you a shout out to our friend here who listened to it for as long as he did in Australia.
That's awesome.
Just so you know, folks that watch the podcast, whenever you post the stuff on stories, whenever you wear the Future Looks Bright hat, the shirts, whenever you tag us, any of that stuff, when you post it in the pictures, we see you. We just wanted to give a shout out to you and tell you much love. From Fort Lauderdale all the way out to Sydney, okay? And I don't even know what the time zone is. Just want to give you a shout-out. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I've actually made that drive before. I've driven from Sydney to the Gold Coast. There ain't much going on there. Byron Bay, Brisbane, everything out there. I made that drive, so shout-out to you. What's his name?
Harley.
Harley, shout-out to you. I assume he's moving to a less woke, less
Go back, Rob, so we can see his name.
City.
Go back to see if I want to get his name right. Harlan or Harley? One of those. Harley. Fantastic.
By the way, we're starting to see all these cities crumble.
By the way, Australia is number 2 on Minect. I don't know why, but Australia's number 2. It is, for whatever reason. I get a ton of Minects from Australia.
Really?
Guys, God bless. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will do it again. And remember, vtwebinar.com. Register for the webinar for tomorrow, 6 p.m. Don't miss this. The 20 threats businesses can't ignore in 2025. The 20 threats businesses cannot ignore in 2025. Add it to your calendar tomorrow, 6 p.m., vtwebinar.com. God bless. Bye-bye.